Before the fleets, the mechs, and the intergalactic empire, there was just a man crushed by the worst kind of ordinary life. Overworked, underpaid, and used up by everyone around him, he ground himself down day after day in a gray little office world that never gave anything back. The pressure never lets up. Coworkers dump work on him, the hours pile higher, and his body finally hits the wall. He collapses right there on the floor, another disposable cog that the system has finished with. In the dark that follows, something impossible happens. A strange presence finds him, and the rules of a normal life stop applying. This is the moment everything is about to go spectacularly sideways. He wakes to a glowing figure and a second chance he never asked for. The man who had nothing suddenly has a choice, and the bitterness of his old life is already shaping what he wants to become. Memories of being used and discarded burn hot. He looks at the people who took everything from him and makes a quiet, furious decision. Next time, he will be the one who takes. Next time, he will be the villain. He even studies for the role, flipping through trashy stories of tyrants and conquerors like they are instruction manuals. If the universe is handing out a new life, he is going to spend it as a proper evil lord who answers to no one. That is when the real architect of his fate steps out of the shadows. A smiling stranger in a hat and dark glasses, all charm and bad intentions, offers him reincarnation in a vast intergalactic empire of nobles, fleets, and power. The stranger is delighted to play guide. He paints a picture of noble houses, territory, and authority, while carefully leaving out just how rotten the deal truly is. Our future evil lord listens, already planning how ruthlessly he will rule. The guide keeps smiling that too wide smile, steering him toward a fallen house that looks perfect for a fresh start. What the guide wants is suffering. What Leon wants is to become the most magnificent villain the stars have ever seen. The bargain is struck. Light swallows him. The old life is left behind, and the man who intended to become a tyrant is dropped into a brand new existence among the stars. He opens his eyes as Liam Banfield, young heir to a crumbling noble house and an intergalactic empire. The mansion is huge, the ceiling impossibly high, and the boy who used to have nothing now stands at the center of a territory that is barely holding together. Retainers scramble around the new lord. A loyal old butler and household staff try to make sense of the child who suddenly carries the future of House Banfield on his small shoulders. Then she arrives. Amagi, a stunning, impeccably composed maid android, presents herself to her new master with perfect grace. Liam takes one look at this masterpiece of loyalty and beauty and decides she is exactly the kind of subordinate an evil lord deserves. Dressed in the fine clothes of a noble, Liam Banfield stands taller already. In his mind, the plan is simple and deliciously wicked. Hoard power, use everyone, and build an empire that serves only him. He has no idea that every evil choice he is about to make will look like heroic brilliance to the rest of the galaxy. Welcome back to the galaxy's most catastrophic villain origin story. Liam Banfield has been reborn as a noble in a sprawling intergalactic empire, and he is already hard at work plotting how to be properly, deliciously evil this time around. He stares out at his ruined little territory from orbit and decides the first step of villainy is obvious: rebuild everything, stockpile power, and make the Banfield name feared again. To him, this is pure greed. To everyone else, it already looks like a miracle. Then the universe hands him the ultimate evil lord accessory. A cutting edge android maid named Amagi materializes, elegant, loyal, and ready to enable every selfish scheme he can invent. Liam is thrilled. He finally has a proper minion. Amagi immediately starts organizing his household with terrifying efficiency. Liam smirks, certain he is assembling a dark inner circle. The staff just see a young lord who somehow acquired the most competent aide in the sector. Of course, a proper villain needs a stronger body. Liam climbs into the growth capsule without hesitation, ready to accelerate his own development so he can start conquering sooner. The site is extremely thorough. When he emerges, the house retainers can barely keep up with his new energy. Liam barks orders, demands reports, and pours resources into every broken corner of his domain. He thinks he is hoarding power. They think he is saving them. The old steward nearly has a heart episode trying to process the sudden flood of reforms. One minute, the Banfield lands are fading, the next, their young master is rewriting the budget like a man possessed. Liam just calls it efficient villainy. Even the stuffy bureaucrats get the Liam treatment. Doors slam, voices rise, someone is definitely getting an earful about incompetence. Our self proclaimed evil lord is cleaning house, and the house has never been happier. Between reforms, he still finds time for the people closest to him. Quiet talks, pointed questions, and that constant undercurrent of a boy who is absolutely certain he is playing the long game of tyranny. But soft living will not make him feared. Liam wants real power, the kind that lets a villain crush anyone who stands in his way. So he turns to the blade, and the training gets serious fast. Retainers watch in stunned silence as their young lord drills like a man with something to prove. Every swing is another step toward the dark overlord he imagines himself becoming. The loyalty in the room only grows thicker. Word spreads through the household. The master is not just reforming the territory, he is forging himself into a weapon. Amagi and the others can only exchange looks that say the same thing. Their lord is extraordinary. Then the real instructor arrives, a weathered swordsman who has seen more battles than Liam has had hot meals. Liam greets him like a villain recruiting a legendary enforcer. The old master simply sees a rare talent worth sharpening. Steel flashes. The training yard erupts. Liam throws himself into the sparring with pure ruthless hunger, certain this is how evil lords are made. Sparks fly, the air cracks, and every witness feels the future shifting. When the dust settles, even the old swordsman is forced to acknowledge what he has on his hands. Liam stands ready for the next lesson, already dreaming of the terror he will spread. He has no idea he just won another lifelong devotee. Welcome back to the galaxy's most successful accidental hero. Liam Banfield is still gone set on becoming a proper evil lord, which means one thing first: raw personal power. If you want to crush people under your boot, you had better be able to swing the boot yourself. So he throws himself into sword training like a man possessed. His instructor puts him through the ringer, and Liam eats every brutal drill with a grin. In his head, this is villain montage music. To everyone watching, it is the birth of a prodigy. Strike after strike, Liam forces his body to catch up with his ambition. He wants a technique so overwhelming that enemies will fold the second he draws steel. The instructor can barely hide how impressed he is. Between sessions, the talk turns serious. Liam is not training for glory or justice. He is training so that when he finally starts taking whatever he wants, nobody will be strong enough to stop him. Peak evil lord logic. The results speak for themselves. Liam's form sharpens at a terrifying pace, and the people around him start whispering the same dangerous word: genius. He hears admiration and files it under "they fear me already." Close enough, right? Training alone will not build an empire of terror, so Liam heads out into the city with a new objective. He needs tools, connections, and whatever shady advantages a rising villain can buy. Time to go shopping for power. He walks straight into a polished establishment and hits the counter like he owns the place. The receptionist gets the full young lord treatment: clipped orders, zero small talk, maximum "I am better than you" energy. Liam thinks he is being intimidating. She mostly looks startled and a little starstruck. Negotiations drag in the back rooms. Suits, stares, and careful words fly across the table while Liam sits there convinced he is squeezing them dry. In reality, he is coming off as a decisive, deep pocketed noble who knows exactly what he wants. Terrible villain, incredible customer. Of course, talk is cheap. Someone decides to test whether the Banfield air can back up the attitude. The air goes tight, stances drop, and Liam gets the invitation he has been craving: a live demonstration. One clean exchange later, and it is game over for the challenger. Liam's blade work is fast, precise, and absolutely merciless. He walks away certain he just painted a target on his back. Everyone else walks away certain they just met a future monster of the battlefield. The spectacle draws a crowd, including a sharp-eyed girl who looks ready to throw down herself. Swords come up, sparks of rivalry fly, and Liam treats the whole thing like another rung on his climb toward galactic tyranny. She treats it like destiny just punched her in the face. Word spreads through the hall before Liam even sheathes his weapon. Students, staff, onlookers, all of them are suddenly very interested in the fallen house that somehow produced this. Liam hears the buzz and nods to himself. Fear, respect, perfect villain branding. Later, away from the noise, things get a little too close for a man who claims he only cares about power. A private moment, soft light, and a girl who has clearly decided the terrifying young lord is worth a second look. Liam files it under useful future pawn. The universe files it under he has no idea. By the time the day winds down, Liam has new skills, new attention, and a fresh stack of people who think he is magnificent. He stretches, satisfied that his evil plan is finally moving. Outside, the city keeps turning, completely unaware it just fell a little more in love with its favorite villain. Liam Banfield is still hard at work, becoming the most magnificent villain the stars have ever seen. In his mind, that means absolute control, ruthless training, and making sure every retainer knows exactly who holds the power. His household gathers around their young lord like he is already a legend. Liam sits there convinced he is radiating pure menace. Everyone else just sees a brilliant master finally putting the Banfield name back on the map. Of course, a proper evil lord needs overwhelming personal strength, so Liam throws himself into combat drills with the kind of intensity that would make veteran knights nervous. Sparks fly, opponents hit the floor, and Liam just keeps coming. That glare could melt hull plating. Liam is certain this is the face of a tyrant in the making. The people watching him only grow more impressed with every swing. Back in the halls of power, the conversations keep circling the same point. Liam's territory is stabilizing, his forces are sharpening, and somehow every selfish order he gives improves life for thousands. He remains blissfully unaware. Word of the young lord's exploits is already spreading. A whole crowd of future officers and nobles look on like they have just witnessed something historic. Liam thinks he is building fear, he is building a fan club. Then the universe itself seems to twist. A familiar, deeply untrustworthy presence forces its way back into Liam's life, all sharp teeth and worse advice. The guide has opinions, and none of them are helpful. Liam answers the only way he knows how, by getting stronger. Blades flash, the air cracks, and another sparring session turns into a one-sided demonstration of why you do not test the Banfield air. Even hardened veterans end up apologizing under that pressure. Liam files it away as proof his evil aura is working. In reality, they are simply recognizing a lord worth following. And then the real prize arrives. A towering machine of war answers Liam's call, and he decides this is the perfect tool for galactic domination. Standing beside the cockpit, one of his most trusted companions can only watch the birth of a legend. Strategy meetings blur into more training and more impossible standards. Liam keeps insisting he is only looking out for number one. His people keep answering with absolute loyalty anyway. Alone with the void for a moment, Liam doubles down on the dream. He will carve out an empire of pure self-interest if it is the last thing he does. The stars, unfortunately for his villain arc, are already starting to root for him. Not everyone is ready to cheer just yet. A sharp-eyed young woman watches the rising Banfield star with something far more complicated than simple admiration, blade at her side and resolve hardening. Two figures face each other under an open sky, the weight of noble pride and future conflict hanging between them. Whatever comes next, Liam is walking straight into it, convinced he holds every advantage. And then the celebration erupts. Food, drink, and roaring cheers fill the hall because the territory finally has a lord worth toasting. Liam raises a glass, certain he has just tightened his evil grip. His people raise theirs because they know they are safe. Surrounded by fiercely loyal faces, Liam Banfield smiles the smile of a man who thinks the galaxy should fear him. Instead, it is already beginning to love him. And the next chapter of his accidental legend is about to get a lot bigger. Chapter 5 opens on the name that is about to echo across the Empire, Avid. Liam stands before his brand new personal mecha like a villain unwrapping the ultimate weapon, already imagining the terror it will spread. Everyone else just sees their young lord claiming the coolest ride in the galaxy. Meanwhile, the military academy is already in full meltdown over their newest student. Classmates whisper, stare, and trip over themselves while Liam sits there calculating how best to exploit every single one of them. In his head, this is networking for future domination. To them, he is simply magnetic. Chaos erupts across the desks like it always does, and Liam barely glances up. A girl works up the courage to speak to him, and he answers with pure cold efficiency, certain he is keeping her at a useful distance. She walks away looking even more smitten than before. His next move is recruiting the smart ones. The bespectacled student hanging on every word has no clue he is being sized up as future staff for an evil regime. From the outside, it looks like the ideal senior taking a junior under his wing, and the loyalty meter climbs another notch. Training period arrives, and Liam decides it is time to remind everyone who sits at the top of the food chain. He watches the sparring floor with the bored confidence of a man who already knows the ending. What happens next is going to short circuit the entire ranking board. One clean exchange and it is over. A swordswoman stands above the fallen student while Liam looks on like this was always the plan. He thinks he just terrorized the weak into submission. The Academy thinks it just witnessed a once in a generation prodigy. He walks away from the match radiating pure villain energy, already filing the win under steps toward galactic conquest. His classmates are ready to follow him into the black of space without a second thought. Then the real stage lights up. A fleet drops into the system with horns blaring, and Liam's people rush to brief him. He sees a perfect chance to flex raw power and scare the sector stiff. They see their lord riding out to shield them. Avid hits the void, and the battle becomes a highlight reel. Enemy units light up one after another while Liam carves through the formation like they personally ruined his morning, which, knowing him, they probably did. On the bridge, the adults can barely keep their voices steady. Victory reports pour in, and Liam accepts them with the smug calm of a villain counting loot. Nobody has the heart to explain he just rescued an entire stretch of space. The enemy formation simply comes apart. Explosion after explosion paints the dark while Avid keeps moving like it owns the battlefield. Liam is having the time of his life, absolutely certain he is building a reputation of pure dread. One final overwhelming strike ends the fight in spectacular fashion. Liam's crew is ready to carve his name into the stars. He just thinks the paperwork for claiming the salvage is going to be annoying. The debrief is peak accidental hero comedy. Retainers praise his brilliant strategy and iron will, while Liam mentally congratulates himself on being ruthlessly efficient. The gap between what he believes he did and what everyone else witnessed has never been funnier. But quiet never lasts long out here. A new presence appears, speaking the word rebellion, and suddenly the board resets. Liam cracks his knuckles, already planning how to crush whoever is foolish enough to test the Banfield name. Ships scramble and weapons charge as Liam prepares to deliver another evil lesson. He is convinced this will finally cement his image as a tyrant to be feared. It is going to do the exact opposite, and he will never notice. And from the shadows, a woman with a predator's smile is already watching. Whatever scheme she is cooking, she has no idea the evil lord standing in her way is the most accidentally righteous man in the entire intergalactic empire. Next time, the real game begins. Liam Banfield has found a new way to be a proper evil lord, and it starts with a thick education manual. In a galaxy of giant fleets and noble houses, he has decided that raw power is not enough. He wants brains, lots of them, working for him. His logic is pure villainy, at least in his own head. In his past life, he got used and discarded by people who knew more than he did. Never again. This time, he will build schools that manufacture talented retainers whose only job is to make Lord Banfield richer, stronger, and impossible to challenge. He weighs every option like a tyrant checking the books. Ordinary knowledge is useful, sure, but magic and alchemy, that is the real prize. If his people can command the forces of the universe, his little backwater territory stops being a joke and starts being a weapon. The path is clear in his mind: military academies for the ambitious, magic instruction for anyone with even a spark of talent. He is not building a kinder society. He is building an empire of useful tools who will never dare betray their magnificent, terrifying master. Brian, the loyal old butler, looks like he might actually cry from joy. Master Liam has done it again, a full education overhaul, real opportunity for the people. Liam just waves it off. Of course he thought of it. He will glance at the proposal in 20 seconds. He is a busy evil lord after all. And just like that, the news hits the territory. A child looks up with pure fire in his eyes and declares he wants to go to school. His mother can barely believe it. Under any other lord, this would be a fantasy. Under Liam Banfield, it is suddenly policy. The boy is not alone. All across the domain, families who never dreamed of more than survival are staring at a future that actually has doors in it. Liam thinks he is constructing a factory for obedient geniuses he can exploit. Everyone else sees a lord who just handed them hope. His inner circle can only watch in stunned admiration as the plan takes shape. Another day, another world changing reform from the man who is absolutely convinced he is the villain of this story. The gap between what Liam believes he is doing and what he is actually doing has never been wider. Somewhere in his mansion, the evil lord of the Banfield domain is probably congratulating himself on how ruthlessly he is stacking the deck. He has no idea that every student who walks through those new school doors is going to grow up thinking one thing: Lord Liam Banfield saved us. Welcome to a special side chapter because Liam Banfield has decided the most evil thing he can do right now is educate his entire population. In his head, this is pure villain strategy. Smarter subjects mean more wealth to seize and better crews for the fleets he will use to terrorize the galaxy. First order of business is Amagi recovering critical teaching systems and pointers. Liam watches the process with the grim focus of a man preparing a superweapon. He is absolutely certain these schools will forge the perfect oppressed workforce. Education's determination sweeps the Banfield territory. Teachers, children, and adults lock onto learning with fanatical energy. Liam smirks. At last, his people are turning themselves into useful tools for his dark ambitions. One after another, they drop to their knees and declare they will serve him. Liam takes it as the natural fear an evil lord inspires. What he is actually receiving is heartfelt loyalty from people who suddenly have a future worth protecting. And so education spreads. Liam's AI helps design a system that pours advanced knowledge into every classroom. He calls it a cold investment. Better workers will generate more taxes for him to hoard. Better soldiers will give him a sharper blade to point at the rest of the empire. His reasoning is classic Liam. Knowledge might not pay off tomorrow, but a proper evil lord plans decades ahead. He wants subjects who can run complicated machinery, invent new ways to make him richer, and follow complex orders without constant babysitting. From the lookout in Amagi Hall, he surveys his domain and doubles down. Raise the basic education level across the board. If he is going to crush the galaxy under his boot, his people need to be sharp enough to be worth commanding. Spending a fortune on schools is simply the price of long term domination. He even links it to physical training. Strengthen the bodies of the masses so they can handle any crisis he throws at them. Knowledge is power, the old books always said, and this time Liam intends to own every drop of it. In his past life, usefulness got him exploited. Now he will be the one doing the exploiting. The effects begin to appear. People who once had no prospects are suddenly prepared for anything. Productivity climbs, innovation sparks, every citizen credits the magnificent Lord Liam for lifting them up, while he remains blissfully convinced he has built the perfect engine of oppression. Out in the black, something like a space pirate is about to discover exactly what kind of territory Liam has created. The Banfield name is starting to carry a reputation that has nothing to do with fear and everything to do with reluctant awe. The conversations that follow say everything. Word of the reforms travels faster than any fleet. People who should be bracing for a rising tyrant instead see a beacon of civilization. Liam's carefully crafted villain image has taken yet another critical hit, and the poor man still has no idea the galaxy is busy turning him into a legend of benevolence. Chapter 6 opens on pure chaos. Someone has just dropped a bombshell so ridiculous that half the room forgets how to breathe, and the other half is already yelling. In the Banfield household, that can only mean one thing: another scheme is about to go spectacularly sideways. The source of the panic becomes clear fast. Word has reached the estate that outside forces are preparing a classic noble special, a honey trap aimed straight at young Lord Liam. Beautiful agent, soft words, hidden knives, textbook villain bait. Butler Brian takes the news with the weary calm of a man who has already survived Liam's idea of evil management. He sips his tea, processes the threat, and immediately starts calculating how to keep his catastrophically well meaning lord from walking straight into it. The younger staff, however, are not calm. The moment the words honey trap leave anyone's mouth, the girls light up like someone just announced a festival. If someone is coming for their lord, they are not sitting this one out. And right on cue, the bait arrives. An elegant woman in a wide hat and veil glides into the picture, every inch the refined noble lady with mysterious motives. Liam's people take one look and know exactly what game is being played. Strategy meeting time. Glasses flash, voices overlap, and the retainers start tearing the situation apart like a war map. They are not panicking, they are offended. Someone dared to aim a cheap seduction plot at the lord who rebuilt their entire world. Then one of the girls slams the table with pure fire in her eyes. If the enemy wants to play honey trap games, fine. She will beat them at their own ridiculous sport. The room does not even try to stop her. They just start planning around the chaos. While the estate turns into a counterintelligence circus, the bigger picture keeps turning. Fleet routes, territory screens, and the endless machinery of Liam's rising domain keep humming in the background. Even a honey trap cannot pause an intergalactic lord's workload. More pieces click into place. The retainers cross check every rumor, every arrival, every suspiciously perfect smile. What began as a simple seduction plot is starting to look like a coordinated move against the Banfield name itself. Liam, of course, remains Liam. While everyone else treats this like a crisis of loyalty and honor, he is almost certainly filing it under useful villain practice. Someone wants to manipulate him? Perfect. That sounds like an opportunity to be deliciously ruthless. Command rooms light up. Data streams, surveillance feeds, and tense faces fill the frame as the household watches the trap tighten. They are not just protecting a lord, they are protecting the man who accidentally gave them a future worth fighting for. Then she makes her move. Hair fluttering, presence dialed all the way up, the honey trap agent steps into full performance mode. Soft approach, perfect timing, the kind of entrance designed to melt a young noble's brain on contact. Liam sits through the formal meeting like a man evaluating a business deal instead of a seduction. His retainers watch every second, ready to intervene, while he processes the whole thing through his personal villain filter. To him, this is leverage. To everyone else, it looks like unshakable dignity. The reaction lands like a shockwave. Whatever Liam says or does next is so completely off script that the room can only stare. The honey trap does not just fail, it gets rewritten into another legend about the magnificent Lord Banfield, who cannot be bought, bent, or baited. And somewhere off to the side, a certain tiny guide spirit looks ready to melt into the floor. Another perfect chance for Liam to be properly evil, wasted on integrity, loyalty, and accidental heroics. The galaxy gets a wiser lord. The guide gets another migraine. Next time, the stakes climb even higher. Cape on, glare locked, Liam Banfield is once again ready to terrorize the galaxy as its premier evil lord. Fresh off his last round of accidental heroics, he is determined that this time his schemes will finally read as pure villainy. Back at the mansion, Amagi and the household staff get the full Liam treatment: cold orders, ruthless efficiency, and zero patience for weakness. He is convinced he is grinding them under his boot. They hear a lord who actually cares whether the domain runs properly. Liam lays out his next masterstroke of evil with that signature smug confidence. Every retainer in the room is already taking mental notes on how magnificent their young master is. The gap between what he thinks he is saying and what they are hearing could swallow a battleship. The Banfield fleet is already moving. Liam wants the big toys out where everyone can see them, because nothing says evil overlord like parking a wall of warships in open space and daring the universe to complain. His inner circle is buzzing: reports, holograms, excited chatter. To Liam, this is just the boring logistics of conquest. To everyone else, it looks like a lord who actually shows up and runs his own house instead of letting it rot. Then comes the paperwork mountain. Liam buries himself in budgets and development plans because a true villain hoards wealth and squeezes every resource dry. The accidental side effect is that the Banfield territory keeps getting richer, cleaner, and better run by the day. Retainers keep bringing him more good news dressed up as problems. Liam waves them off with cold efficiency, certain he is being dismissive and cruel. Their loyalty meter just keeps climbing. More briefings, more decisions. Liam signs off on everything that makes him look powerful and untouchable. The staff walk out of every meeting ready to throw themselves in front of a plasma bolt for him. And then the real fun starts. Space pirates have been operating in the sector like they own it. Liam decides this is the perfect chance to be a proper tyrant: crush them, take everything, and remind the galaxy who the new predator is. The pirate fleet lights up the void. Explosions bloom, mechs clash, and Liam's forces tear straight through the raiders with terrifying precision. He is having the time of his life playing the ruthless conqueror. The pirate commander tries to make a stand, all armor and bluster. Liam answers with overwhelming firepower and zero mercy. From the bridge, it looks like cold-blooded villainy. From every civilian frequency and range, it looks like a miracle. The fight turns brutal up close. Liam's side keeps pressing the advantage while the pirate ranks collapse. He is certain this is the moment his reputation as a monster will finally stick. One final push, and the pirate operation is finished. Ships go dark, the raiders are wiped out, and Liam stands over the wreckage, convinced he has just committed a glorious act of evil greed. In the aftermath, an old pirate faces the young lord who just erased his entire fleet. Liam is ready to savor the fear and hatred he has earned. Instead, he is about to discover, once again, that the galaxy has completely different ideas about what kind of man he is. Chapter 8 opens on a very familiar sight. Liam Banfield standing tall in his estate, looking every bit the calculating villain he insists he is. Beside him, the ever loyal Amagi waits for orders, because when this man decides something, the whole territory moves. Liam lays out his latest scheme with absolute confidence. He is done playing nice with the scum preying on his borders. In his mind, this is pure selfish villainy. Crush the opposition, seize the glory, and make sure everyone knows the Banfield name is not to be crossed. His retainers hang on every word. The more ruthlessly he talks about wiping out the pirate threat, the more their eyes sparkle. To them, this is not greed. This is a lord finally protecting his people with everything he has. Even the household staff are buzzing. Liam thinks he is announcing a campaign of terror. What they hear is a declaration that their home will finally be safe, and they are ready to follow him into the void for it. Cut across the stars to a towering stronghold that has no idea what is about to hit it. This is pirate country, the kind of place that has grown fat off weaker territories for years. Someone on the ground is already staring up at that building like the sky itself just changed. Inside, the mood is pure panic. Reports are flooding in. A minor border lord named Banfield has stopped looking like easy prey and started looking like a problem, the kind of problem that arrives with a fleet and a grudge. Their tech specialist lounges amid the screens, trying to look unimpressed while the data screams otherwise. Liam's forces are not just coming, they are already inside the pirate's comfort zone, and the numbers do not lie. Enter the pirate captain herself. Eye patch, long hair, and the kind of reputation that used to make merchants surrender on sight. Her crew is looking to her for a miracle. She is looking at the incoming storm and realizing the old rules no longer apply. Footsteps echo through a gleaming corridor. A figure in a coat and hat moves with absolute purpose, as if the entire station already belongs to someone else. The pirates still think they have time. They do not. Then the corridor erupts. A blast tears through the quiet, and suddenly the hunters are the ones scrambling for cover. Liam's idea of an evil opening move is simple: hit first, hit hard, and leave no room for a second thought. And there he is, dark aura flaring, expression locked into pure predatory focus. Liam is convinced this is his villain era peaking. Everyone watching from the other side is just trying not to get erased from the map. The stronghold takes a direct hit that shakes every deck. Alarms scream, crew members go flying, and the captain's legendary composure finally cracks. This is not a raid, this is a message written in fire across the stars. Outside, the void lights up with the kind of one-sided fleet action Liam calls efficient resource acquisition. Ships that once terrorized trade lanes are getting swatted aside while he barely breaks a sweat. To him, this is just cleaning house. On the bridge, the remaining pirates finally understand who they provoked. The name Banfield is no longer a joke about a fallen house. It is the last thing a lot of outlaws are going to have time to regret. And when the smoke clears, all that remains in frame is a single quiet photograph. Whatever personal score was buried inside this so-called villainous campaign, Liam has only just started collecting. The galaxy has no idea how much more of his evil it is about to receive. A pirate fleet drops out of nowhere, right on Liam Banfield's doorstep. For a self-proclaimed evil lord who has been itching to flex some ruthless power, this is basically a gift-wrapped opportunity. On the bridge, the officers scramble through reports, while Liam sits there already deciding how thoroughly he is going to crush these scavengers. In his mind, this is pure villainy. Seize the moment, erase the threat, and make sure everyone remembers who rules this territory. The fleets open fire and space lights up. Liam's ships answer with disciplined volleys he paid a fortune to build, all so he could one day oppress people in style. The pirates never expected a backwater lord to hit this hard. Liam listens to the tactical chatter with that familiar smug certainty. He is convinced every order he gives is the cold calculation of a tyrant. His crew just hears the calm voice of a brilliant commander who refuses to let pirates touch his people. On the pirate side, their leader is still barking orders like he has a chance. He has no idea the weak border noble he picked on has been pouring money into warships purely so he could look intimidating. Explosions rip through the pirate formation. Liam's fleet is already winning, and he is only getting started. To him, this is the opening act of a proper evil spectacle. Watching from the bridge is no longer enough. Liam decides a true villain does not hide behind officers. He is going to sortie personally and finish this with his own hands so the galaxy learns to fear the name Banfield. He suits up with absolute confidence. In Liam's head, this is the moment the evil lord takes the stage. Everyone around him just sees their young master charging out to protect the territory himself. Liam launches in his mobile knight, cape of authority practically flapping in the void. He is certain he looks terrifying. The bridge crew is already whispering about how magnificent he is. The moment he enters the fray, the battle changes. Liam's machine cuts through pirate craft like they are practice targets. Every move sharp, overwhelming, and completely one-sided. One devastating exchange later, and the pirate flagship is finished in a blaze of light. Liam is sure he just performed a ruthless act of intimidation. The universe, once again, reads it as heroic brilliance. Back on the ships, jaws are on the floor. Officers who already respected him are now staring like they just watched a legend write itself in real time. Liam remains blissfully unaware. The pirate fleet is wiped out. Liam returns convinced he has struck fear into the hearts of scum across the sector and taken another step toward becoming the galaxy's most despised tyrant. Instead, his people are more fanatically devoted than ever, already turning this sortie into the latest chapter of the magnificent Lord Banfield legend. And the joke keeps rolling because Liam still has no idea he is the hero of his own story. Chapter 10 opens the way only this series can. Liam Banfield out in the black, calling it treasure hunting. What he actually means is hunting space pirates for their loot, because nothing says evil lord like seizing other people's ill-gotten gains for himself. His personal mobile knight Avid tears into the pirate formation like a predator that has been waiting all week for this. Explosions bloom across the void, and Liam is already calculating how much this haul is going to pad his personal fortune. The pirate fleet tries to scatter. It does not matter. Liam's guns and the Banfield ships turn the entire engagement into a fireworks show, and every blast only convinces him he is being deliciously ruthless. On the bridge and in the cockpit, the orders keep coming. Liam wants every last pirate craft finished so nothing escapes with the treasure he has already decided belongs to him. His crew executes those orders with terrifying precision. Avid closes the distance and the real close quarters work begins. Liam's machine carves through enemy mobile knights while the pirates scream about the monster that just dropped into their hunting ground. Even the pirate command ship cannot hold. One devastating strike after another leaves the raiders in full collapse, and Liam watches the wreckage with the satisfied air of a villain who just robbed the robbers blind. Boarding actions and final duels finish what the fleet battle started. A fierce sword-wielding fighter cuts through the last resistance while Liam's forces secure the area, and the pirates finally understand they picked the wrong lord to annoy. The last pirate champions go down hard. One final overwhelming assault leaves their flagship gutted and their leadership finished, and the declaration rings out across the comms, the pirates are done. With the battlefield quiet, the real treasure hunting begins. Liam's people crack open the pirate vaults and haul out the goods, including one very suspicious sealed container that immediately gets everyone's attention. Inside the box is not gold or weapons, it is a tiny, impossibly cute creature that stares up at them like it owns the place. Liam, professional evil lord, now has to decide what to do with the galaxy's most unexpected loot. Back on safer ground, the little discovery continues to cause chaos. Retainers fuss, the creature causes mild panic, and Liam tries to treat the entire situation like a shrewd villain securing a rare asset instead of a guy who just adopted space's fluffiest problem. Meanwhile, the legend of the Banfield House keeps growing in the ranks. Soldiers who once served a ruined territory now stand proud under Liam's banner, completely convinced their young lord is a once-in-a-generation genius of war and governance. They trade stories about how far the family has come, how the training is brutal but fair, and how serving under Liam feels like riding the rise of a new power in the Empire. Every word of praise would horrify the man who thinks he is grinding them for his own selfish glory. And that is the eternal joke. Liam wipes out a pirate armada for treasure, pockets a mysterious living prize, and inspires fanatical loyalty in his troops, all while absolutely certain he is playing the villain. The Empire has no idea what kind of magnificent disaster is still coming. While Liam is off being gloriously misunderstood by the entire galaxy, we cut back home to the Banfield territory for a little side story. Meet the soldiers who actually have to live under the rule of the galaxy's most accidental hero. A couple of Banfield troops are taking out time between drills, and the conversation immediately swings to their lord. One of them is still wrapping his head around how completely different life is now compared to the old days of the fallen house. They start listing off everything Liam has done for the army: better gear, real training, actual pay that arrives on time. To Liam, this was all just efficient villainy so his troops would crush his enemies harder. To these guys, it is paradise. One soldier admits he used to think nobles were all the same: greedy, useless, and happy to throw lives away. Then Liam showed up, poured money into the military like a maniac, and personally made sure the rank and file were looked after. The others jump in immediately. They talk about the pirate fleets Liam wiped out, the way he never wastes soldiers on pointless glory charges, and how the territory actually feels safe for the first time in living memory. Someone brings up the training regimen. Liam demanded elite performance because he wanted a terrifying private army for his evil schemes. What he got was a force that would charge through a star for him without hesitation. The mood turns almost reverent. These soldiers are not just loyal, they are fanatically convinced their lord is the greatest ruler the Banfield house has ever produced. Every selfish decision Liam made is being rewritten in their heads as pure benevolence. They laugh about how other houses still underestimate him. Let them, one soldier says. The moment anyone threatens Banfield's space, they will learn exactly why serving under Liam feels like the best decision of their lives. By the time the chat winds down, the entire group is grinning like absolute madmen. They are ready to follow Liam into any battle, any scheme, any ridiculous villain plan he cooks up next. And Liam still has no idea he has built himself an army of true believers. Welcome back to Liam Banfield's ongoing masterclass in accidental heroism. His territory's books are balanced, the population is climbing, and Liam sits there glowing with pride because he is certain every bit of this success is proof he is finally becoming a proper evil lord. Amagi delivers the latest report with perfect calm: more citizens, stronger finances, everything trending upward. Liam hears only one thing: more people to squeeze dry when the time is right. He starts outlining his villainous master plan out loud: build more facilities, expand education, lock the population into depending on him completely. To everyone else, it sounds like a golden age. To Liam, it is pure calculated greed. Then the conversation turns to the pirates sniffing around his borders. Liam's eyes light up. Perfect, a chance to crush some scum, seize their ships, and remind the galaxy that the Banfield name is one you fear. But raw ambition is not enough. Liam knows an evil lord needs personal power to back up the fleets, so he doubles down on his training, determined to become strong enough that no one can ever exploit him again. Enter Yasushi, the extremely dubious sword instructor Liam somehow trusts. The training is brutal, the methods questionable, and Brian the butler can only watch with that familiar mix of loyalty and quiet despair. While her master sweats through another session, Amagi looks out over the territory. People working with real pride, streets alive, everything running better than it has in generations. All of it dedicated to the Lord who still thinks he is the villain. And the Banfield house is not just hearts and hard work. They have the metal to match. This walking fortress of a mecha stands ready, the kind of machine that makes pirate captains reconsider their life choices. Of course, Liam's rising legend has drawn more than just retainers and robots. These two young women have their own reasons for watching the Banfield domain very closely, and the look on their faces says the story is only getting more interesting. Inside the command layers of Liam's operation, the pace never slows. Reports, orders, quick decisions. His people move like a well oiled machine because disappointing their lord is simply not an option they will accept. Then the calm shatters. Alarms, shocked faces, someone yelling across the room. Whatever just hit the Banfield sensors is big enough to wipe the usual composure right off everyone present. Leung wanted a stage to prove he was a ruthless, evil lord. The galaxy, as usual, is about to hand him a crisis that will only make him look like the one man who can save everyone, and he will never notice the difference. Chapter 11 opens on Amagi, Liam's perfectly composed android maid, standing ready as ever. While Liam is off chasing the glory of being a proper villain, she keeps the Banfield domain running like a machine. And right now, that machine is about to get a very loud stress test. Cut to the training grounds where Liam's knights and cadets are running drills. The mood is sharp, professional, almost festive. Liam has poured money and pressure into turning his people into a real fighting force, fully convinced this is the kind of ruthless military buildup an evil lord should have. Then the sky lights up, an explosion rips across the field, and the drill instantly stops being a drill. Hostile craft scream in, weapons hot, and suddenly Liam's carefully staged training exercise has real enemies inside it. His people do not panic. They answer with disciplined fire and cold precision, the exact opposite of the ragtag force Liam inherited. Every clean counterattack only deepens his reputation as a lord who forges legends, while Liam himself is mostly annoyed that someone interrupted his schedule. Then the real statement piece arrives. A towering mobile knight drops into the fray, Banfield colors gleaming, and the battlefield changes scale in a single heartbeat. To Liam, this is just efficient hardware. To everyone watching, it is the banner of a rising power. Cockpits seal. Orders snap across the net. Liam's pilots surge forward while enemy ships try to scramble a response in orbit. What began as a ground ambush is about to become a very one-sided fleet problem. On the ground, the fight turns personal. A young swordswoman from Liam's side tears into the attackers with raw determination, blade flashing, refusing to give a single step. She is not fighting for glory, she is fighting because her lord expects results. Steel rings on steel. She drives her opponent back through sheer will, every strike announcing that the Banfield name no longer means easy prey. Around her, the rest of the unit follows that same furious standard. The retaliation spreads. More of Liam's forces pour in, coordinating ground and air like they have been waiting for an excuse. What the attackers thought was a soft target is answering with overwhelming, almost insulting competence. By the time the dust settles, the raiders are finished and Liam's people are already debriefing like professionals. Two senior figures exchange grim looks. The message is clear even without words. Underestimating the Banfield house just became a very expensive mistake. Elsewhere, the cleanup continues. Liam's retainers sweep the area, secure wreckage, and start asking the obvious question: who was bold enough or stupid enough to hit them during a training exercise? Someone has been watching. A strange eye motif keeps surfacing in the aftermath, like a signature left behind on purpose. In the quiet corridors of the estate, the mood shifts from victory to suspicion. This was not random piracy, this was a probe. Reports stack up. The eye appears again in recovered data, and Liam's people realize the attack may have been meant to measure them. Measure the Lord, measure the army he built while pretending he was only being selfish. Out in the black, Banfield Mobile Knights finish the last of the hostile craft with clinical efficiency. No speeches, no mercy. Just the kind of clean wipeout that makes neighboring sectors rewrite their threat assessments overnight. Back home, two of the women closest to the household trade quiet words about their lord. They see the pattern even if Liam never will. Every time he tries to act the villain, he accidentally forges deeper loyalty. The house is no longer fallen, it is becoming something dangerous. The chapter closes on tense strategy talks and a simple truth hanging in the air. Someone tested the Banfield domain and got their answer in fire and steel. Liam still thinks he is playing the long villain game. The rest of the galaxy is starting to treat him like a hero they cannot afford to cross, and the next move from whoever sent that eye is already on its way. Chapter 12 opens on a quiet morning that is about to get very complicated. While one corner of the galaxy is still reeling from Liam Banfield's latest villainous rampage, the man himself is nowhere near a battlefield. Instead, we cut straight to the spectacle everyone else remembers: Liam's fleet tearing through a pirate armada like it owed him money. Explosions light up the void, and entire raider squadrons are simply gone. To Liam, this was efficient pest control. To the rest of the Empire, it looks like divine justice. Word of that ruthless victory has already reached high society. A poised noblewoman stands before a glittering cityscape and calmly explains just how thoroughly the Banfield heir dismantled the pirate threat. She is not afraid, she is impressed. Her audience of young ladies hangs on every word. They clutch their hands and trade excited glances. In their minds, Lord Liam is not a budding tyrant, he is the galaxy's most eligible protector, and the rumors only make him more dazzling. One girl in particular looks ready to swear eternal loyalty on the spot. The gap between Liam's self-image and reality is already wide enough to fly a battleship through, and these admirers are only making it wider. Back in Banfield territory, the household is buzzing with the same energy. Maids trade stories about their lord's latest decisive moves, completely missing that he still thinks he is playing the villain. Efficiency, generosity, crushing pirates, it all reads as heroic to everyone except him. Even the view from the mansion windows feels different now. One retainer gazes out across the thriving domain Liam keeps selfishly pouring resources into, while the man himself stands above it all, brooding about how deliciously evil his next scheme will be. Formal business waits for no one's daydreams. In the grand hall, retainers and guests assemble while Liam's inner circle discusses the political ripples his pirate purge has caused. Every report makes him sound more magnificent. Liam just wants to know how to squeeze more personal benefit out of it. A startled maid nearly drops her tray when the conversation turns to just how far the Lord's reputation has spread. Shock, pride, and a little hero worship flash across every face in the room. Liam remains blissfully unaware he is collecting devotees instead of terrified subjects. Later, Liam lounges in his study, looking every bit the bored evil overlord. His advisors update him on territory growth, fleet readiness, and the endless stream of people who now want to serve him. He nods along, certain he is simply managing his assets like a proper scoundrel. Then the mood shifts. Liam finds himself face to face with a young woman whose future is suddenly tangled up with his rising star. The conversation is polite on the surface, but every word carries weight. She looks at him like he hung the stars. He is mostly wondering how this helps his villain arc. The talk grows sharper. Liam leans in, trying to project cold authority, while she answers with quiet determination. Neither of them realizes the other is having an entirely different conversation. He thinks he is being intimidating. She thinks she is standing before greatness. And then it hits. A sudden jolt of realization crashes through the moment. Eyes widen, breath catches. Whatever careful distance existed a second ago evaporates as raw emotion floods the space between them. Liam has no idea he just rewrote someone else's entire world. The aftermath is pure chaos of the heart. Voices overlap, tears threaten, and the people closest to the situation scramble to process what just happened. Liam stands in the middle of it all, still half convinced he somehow played this like a master manipulator. Comfort is offered, loyalties are silently renewed, and one elegant figure watches over the scene with a look that mixes fondness and quiet amusement. Somewhere nearby, an old retainer can only smile. Another circle of people has just fallen completely under the spell of the galaxy's least successful evil lord. Chapter 13 hits with a title that promises trouble, Princess Knight. We open on a long haired figure sprawled across the floor, the calm before a very different kind of storm. Liam Banfield's carefully constructed villain era is about to meet someone who will completely misread him, and he will completely misread her right back. The story yanks us straight into the void. Liam's forces tear through a hostile fleet in a storm of explosions and blinding light, the kind of overwhelming display that makes entire sectors rewrite their maps. He is certain this is peak evil lord behavior. Everyone watching sees a savior who just cleaned house. Smoke and wreckage fill the aftermath while shadowed figures process what just happened. Reports start flying. In quiet offices, serious men in suits already treat Liam's rampage like a strategic masterstroke instead of the petty grudge settling he thinks it was. Cut to a charged conversation between two women who have clearly been paying attention to the Banfield rise. Word of the young lord's ruthless campaigns has reached high places, and the tone is not fear, it is interest. Liam would hate how good this looks on him. Then the camera gives us the full portrait, an elegant beauty with cascading hair, calm and unmistakably important. This is exactly the kind of high status target Liam has always wanted to intimidate. The joke, of course, is that she is far more likely to walk away impressed. Backroom discussions multiply. Retainers and observers lay out the facts of Liam's growing power while he remains blissfully convinced he is sowing terror. Every efficient reform, every crushed pirate band keeps getting filed under benevolent genius instead of mustache twirling villainy. Liam sits through another formal exchange, looking every bit the cold young aristocrat. His people hang on the slightest gesture, already translating his blunt orders into legendary leadership. He is trying so hard to be feared, it is not working. The Banfield household stays in constant motion. From crowded halls to quiet strategy corners, the domain keeps improving because their lord refuses to tolerate weakness or waste. Liam calls it selfish consolidation of power. His people call it the best thing that ever happened to them. An older voice delivers hard truths while a younger listener takes it all in. The emotional whiplash is delicious. Gratitude and awe keep landing on a man who only wanted to play the tyrant. Somewhere, Liam is probably annoyed that no one is properly miserable. Alone at last, Liam studies a glowing display, no doubt drafting his next magnificently evil scheme. Raise the stakes, expand the fleet, squeeze more out of the territory. History will record it as another round of brilliant reforms that lifted everyone around him. He steps into the open with a companion at his side, the picture of a brooding lord carrying heavy burdens. In his head, this is the lonely road of a true villain. Through everyone else's eyes, it looks like a righteous ruler quietly checking on the world he keeps accidentally saving. A dramatic new presence cuts through the chapter, hat tilted and energy spiking before we drop back into Liam's circle. Reports keep arriving, loyalties keep hardening. The man who wants to be the galaxy's problem is rapidly becoming its favorite solution. Emotions boil over among the gathered faces. Someone is openly moved by what Liam has built. He would be horrified if he realized those were tears of respect rather than terror. The gap between intention and reputation has never been wider or funnier. Then she arrives in full splendor, the Princess Knight herself, armored, armed, and radiant under the light. This is the confrontation Liam has been waiting for, a powerful figure he can finally dominate and cow. You can already feel the misunderstanding loading in the chamber. Talks continue through grand corridors while the Banfield Castle looms proud in the background. Alliances, impressions, and quiet vows are forming around a young lord who still thinks he is playing the villain. Every polished floor and loyal face is another accidental monument to his evil. Serious officials adjust their glasses and weigh the future, while two striking women trade words that will matter. The entire board is tilting toward Liam Banfield. He remains convinced he is one monologue away from true infamy. Everyone else is busy joining his legend. The Princess Knight stands ready in full glory, power and elegance locked on the young lord who believes he is her natural enemy. Liam has no idea another fiercely devoted piece is about to click into his accidental empire. Next time, the misunderstanding only gets bigger and far more personal. Welcome back to the galaxy's most accidental hero. Liam Banfield is still gone set on becoming the ultimate evil lord, and Chapter 14 opens with his household already buzzing like he just ordered something deliciously villainous. Liam points straight ahead with that classic, I am about to do something terrible energy. In his head, this is pure, ruthless ambition. Everyone else just sees a lord ready to fix another crisis. Enter a sharp, composed woman who looks like she walked straight out of the Empire's political machine. She is here on serious business, and Liam is already calculating how to twist this meeting to his evil advantage. The talks get dense fast. Reports, territory updates, and polite smiles fly around the room while Liam sits there convinced he is squeezing every drop of value out of these people like a proper tyrant. His retainers hang on every word. To them, this is another masterclass in brilliant leadership. To Liam, it is just efficient exploitation. The gap between those two views is already comedy gold. Even the household staff get pulled into the whirlwind. The Banfield maids stand ready, looking like the most loyal force in the sector, while Liam privately congratulates himself on running such a tight, selfish ship. Then Liam decides the conversation needs a demonstration, something flashy, something that will remind everyone who holds the power around here. He gives the order with full villain flair. And the mountain simply ceases to be a problem. One massive blast later, the landscape has a brand new crater, and Liam is certain he just terrorized the locals into obedience. Instead of terror, pure awe breaks out. His people stare at the smoking rubble like they just watched a miracle of engineering and decisive leadership. Liam, of course, reads the cheering as fear. The excitement only climbs from there. Retainers crowd around, voices overlapping, everyone convinced their lord just solved another impossible issue with style. Liam nods along, smugly sure he is being properly dreadied. One official in particular looks ready to throw a parade. The laughter and praise keep coming, and every compliment lands in Liam's ears as proof that his evil reputation is finally spreading. Back in the quieter halls, the political gears keep turning. Allies and staff trade looks that scream absolute faith in the Banfield name, while Liam remains blissfully unaware he is building a legend of kindness. Watching from the shadows is the guide, the very being who dropped Liam into this life. That familiar silhouette radiates pure frustration. The plan was a selfish villain. The result is a beloved reformer. Liam returns to his desk like a conqueror reviewing the spoils. Screens light up with fresh reports of prosperity and loyalty, and he takes it all as evidence that fear is working beautifully. More voices join the chorus of approval. Every conversation circles back to how fortunate the territory is to have him, and Liam sits there planning his next cruel masterstroke without a clue. By the time the chapter closes, the Banfield name is shining even brighter and the guide looks ready to scream. Liam has done it again, another day of pure villainy that somehow leaves everyone more devoted than before. Next time, the gap between what he thinks he is and what the galaxy sees is only going to get wider. Liam Banfield sits alone at his desk like the galaxy's most dangerous tyrant. In his mind, he is finally living the selfish, evil lord life he always deserved. The running joke of this entire series is that every ruthless thought in his head looks like pure benevolence to everyone else. Retainers crowd the office with reports and updates. Liam listens with the cold smile of a man certain he is squeezing them dry. They hang on his every word like he is the greatest lord the Banfield house has ever produced. A fully armored knight drops to one knee and greets him as Lord Liam Banfield. Liam accepts the formality like a conqueror receiving tribute. To the knight, it is simply the respect due to a magnificent ruler. More of his people gather, faces bright with absolute faith. Liam is convinced his villainous aura is keeping them terrified and obedient. In reality, they would charge into a black hole if he asked. A sudden commotion erupts as someone comes racing in with urgent news. The entire room snaps to attention while Liam leans forward, already imagining the next evil opportunity. The report lands hard. Another pirate force that dared enter his space has been completely finished. Liam's chest swells with pride at how thoroughly he crushed the pests who annoyed him. Two of his young retainers discuss the victory in the hallway. One still cannot believe how cleanly the operation went. Liam walks past, certain they are whispering about his terrifying reputation. A complete victory. That is the only thought filling Liam's heart with pure joy. Even the first general bows slightly after the hard fight, while Liam privately congratulates himself on being the most ruthless lord in the Empire. Back among his people, the mood is electric. Advisors and knights trade excited looks, already planning how to build on the win. Liam watches them and decides his evil charisma is working perfectly. The younger members of his household cannot stop smiling. One girl looks ready to charge into the next campaign on pure loyalty alone. Liam remains blissfully unaware that he has created another generation of fanatics. Even the quieter conversations keep circling back to how incredible their lord is. Two girls trade stories about his latest decisions like they are legends in the making. Liam would be horrified if he understood they see a hero. A sudden sharp impact cuts through the air. Training or a heated demonstration, the force of it snaps everyone to attention. Liam watches with the satisfied air of a villain whose subordinates are becoming properly dangerous. Two fighters face off in a fierce sparring exchange, blades and bodies moving with real intent. Liam folds his arms and decides this is exactly the kind of ruthless strength an evil lord should cultivate. His people just want to be worthy of him. Deep in thought, Liam reviews everything that led to this moment. He remembers how he seized power, crushed the pirates who got in his way, and poured resources into his territory for purely selfish reasons. The result is a domain that now thrives beyond anything the old Banfield house ever dreamed. He tells himself the story again like a proper villain origin, a miserable first life, a second chance in a vast intergalactic empire, and a solemn vow to take everything he wants without mercy. The tragedy is that mercy keeps leaking out of every decision he makes. By the time the reports are finished, Liam is certain he has taken another dark step toward galactic domination. His people are more devoted than ever, his enemies have one less fleet to threaten anyone with, and the Banfield name shines brighter. And somewhere out there, the next group of fools is already preparing to learn exactly why you do not test the evil Lord Liam. Before we dive back into Liam Banfield's latest schemes, the story pulls us into a distant memory of how this whole glorious mess began. A man crushed by a miserable first life wakes up reborn as the young lord of a ruined house in a vast intergalactic empire of fleets, mechs, and magic. Burned by every betrayal he ever suffered, Liam makes one crystal clear decision. This time, he is going to be a proper evil lord. Selfish, ruthless, feared. He will take whatever he wants and crush anyone who stands in his way. He even gets a dedicated guide, artificial intelligence, named Imagi to help him walk the path of villainy. Together, they start rebuilding the Banfield domain, gathering power and preparing Liam to dominate the Empire his way. Liam trains like a man possessed, convinced that overwhelming personal strength is the fastest route to becoming the galaxy's most terrifying tyrant. Every swing of the sword, every tactical lesson is fuel for his evil ambitions. Here is the joke that never stops giving. While Liam smugly congratulates himself on acting like a despicable villain, everyone around him sees a brilliant, hardworking, generous young lord lifting an entire territory out of the dirt. He pours resources into his lands because he wants to flaunt his wealth. He wipes out pirates because they irritate him. And with every evil deed, the people's love for him only grows louder. Liam remains blissfully convinced he is the bad guy. The legend of the evil lord of the Banfield House is already spreading across the stars, complete with dramatic portraits of Liam looking every bit the dark conqueror he imagined himself to be. And of course, the fanatically loyal beauties who serve him only reinforce the image. To Liam, they are useful tools for his villainous rise. To everyone else, they are proof that a magnificent ruler attracts magnificent retainers. Meanwhile, far from the political games of the Empire, a completely different story is unfolding. A young boy stares at the sky and declares he wants to become an adventurer, dreaming of glory and freedom among the stars. He shares that dream with the other children around him, full of the kind of pure excitement Liam himself once lost in his first life. Simple hopes, big promises, and no idea how dangerous the galaxy really is. But the adults listening nearby know better. Their faces say it all. The universe is not kind to dreamers, and the path of an adventurer is paved with things far darker than any child imagines. One look from the grown-ups is enough to cast a shadow over the boy's bright declaration. Something heavier is waiting out there in the Empire, and innocence never lasts long when noble houses and space fleets start moving. Welcome back to the Intergalactic Chaos. Chapter 16 is titled Between Volumes, and it is exactly what it sounds like, a breather between the big fleet spectacles where we get to watch Liam Banfield try to be a villain in the quiet moments. Spoiler, he is still catastrophically bad at it. Somewhere in the Banfield territory, pure unhinged laughter rings out. Liam is clearly convinced he has just cooked up another masterfully evil scheme. The people around him look like they are watching a beloved young lord enjoy a well-earned victory lap. Daily life keeps rolling. Retainers chatter, reports fly, and Liam sits through conversations that would bore a normal noble to tears. He treats every mundane duty like it is part of his grand plan to squeeze the galaxy dry. Close-ups fly as the talk gets serious. Liam's expression says he is calculating how to exploit everyone in the room. Everyone else hears a thoughtful lord who actually listens to his people. The gap between those two realities is the entire joke of this series. The discussion heats up. Liam leans in, fully committed to sounding ruthless and unapproachable. His retainers just look more devoted by the second. At this point, fanatical loyalty is basically the house specialty. A quieter beat follows. Liam ends up face to face with one of the women in his orbit, and the air gets thick with the kind of tension he absolutely does not know how to handle, like a proper evil overlord. Then the distance vanishes. Fabric goes RIP, faces get far too close, and Liam's carefully maintained villain persona takes another direct hit. He came here to be feared. Instead, he is one wardrobe malfunction away from becoming a romance lead. The household keeps spinning around him. Conversations bounce from room to room while Liam tries to reassert that he is, in fact, a terrifying existence. Nobody is buying it. They are too busy being impressed. One of the long-haired women gets an emotional moment right up in Liam's space. From his point of view, this is dangerous attachment that a true evil lord should crush. From everyone else's point of view, it is peak tragic hero tenderness. Cut to the peanut gallery. A twin-tailed girl and the rest of the circle are already deep in analysis mode, dissecting every glance and word like it is strategic genius. Liam remains blissfully unaware that he is being mythologized in real time. Back in the formal rooms, the tone shifts again. Liam stands there looking every bit the calculating noble, while the people around him treat the meeting like an audience with a living legend. Efficiency, generosity, strength, he thinks these are tools of oppression. They look like virtues. The girls' side of the story takes over. Three of them trade theories, compliments, and barely contained excitement about their lord. If Liam could hear this conversation, he would be horrified at how thoroughly his evil branding campaign has failed. Two of them strike a pose that could launch 1,000 recruitment posters. Blade ready, confidence maxed, loyalty locked in. They are not afraid of the evil lord of the Banfield house. They are proud to stand behind him. And we close the interlude on a quieter image, one of the women simply sitting with the softest look on her face, completely at ease in the world Liam built while trying to be a monster. He still thinks he is the villain of this story. Chapter 17 opens on a familiar face with goggles and zero chill. Somewhere in Banfield space, the monitors are lit up and the staff are locked in. Whatever Liam has set in motion, his people are treating it like the most important broadcast in the sector. Operators lean over consoles while chatter fills the room. A headset girl stares straight into the feed like the fate of the house depends on the next few seconds. For a territory that was rotting when Liam arrived, this level of focus is new. Then the feed erupts. Sparks, shouting, pure chaos on the line. Liam's people scramble, and the joke writes itself again. He wanted fear and obedience. What he keeps getting is a staff that will throw themselves into the fire for him. Cut to the inner circle. The girls are piled together like a victory photo waiting to happen, all smiles and absolute loyalty. In Liam's head, this is his evil court of minions. In reality, it is a fan club with combat training. And there he is, Liam Banfield, gone center, peace sign up, flanked by devoted retainers who would follow him into a supernova. He is certain this image screams tyrant. Everyone else sees a lord their entire house would get taken out for. Well, fight for. Back in the halls of power, the briefings never stop. Reports, requests, quiet arguments about the next move. Liam listens with the face of a man planning something wicked. His staff hear a ruler who actually cares whether the territory thrives. An older retainer lays out the situation with a grin that says the numbers are finally going their way. Around him, the younger staff hang on every word. Under Liam, the Banfield name is climbing, and nobody in the room thinks that is an accident. Of course, nothing stays calm for long. A sudden blast rocks a training bay, and a blonde figure gets launched like a firework. Liam's idea of raising strong subordinates looks, from the outside, like the most intense loyalty program in the Empire. Serious faces return, strategy talk, quiet glances, the weight of running an interstellar house settling on young shoulders. A silver haired beauty looks back across the room as if she already knows which way the next decision will fall. Close ups tell the real story doubt, resolve, and that particular brand of devotion Liam still misreads as fear. His people are not plotting escape routes, they are lining up to make his ridiculous villain plan succeed. In the quieter chambers, the holograms come out city grids, development plans, the bones of a territory being rebuilt from the ground up. Liam wanted monuments to his own greed. What he funded looks a lot like a golden age. Then a showman with a goatee hits the beat. TADA! Whatever he has been hiding, it is ready, and the room turns as one. Liam's investment is about to get a very public unveiling. The reaction is instant cheers, wide eyes, people rushing the reveal like it is festival day. Out in the open air, the crowd surges with the kind of joy you only get when a fallen house starts looking unstoppable again. And right on cue, Liam lights up like a kid who just got away with something terrible. In his mind, this is the face of a successful evil lord claiming his spoils. Everyone watching only sees their brilliant young master celebrating a win for the whole territory. Naturally, the true prize is on the plate a forkful of rich food, the simple greedy pleasure Liam refuses to feel guilty about. He thinks indulgence makes him monstrous. His people think a lord who finally eats well is a lord worth following to the edge of the galaxy. Next time, that loyalty is going to get tested in open space. Chapter 18 opens on a scene that feels painfully ordinary. A worn down man drags himself through another exhausting morning while a child looks on, and somewhere a yawn stretches into the kind of tired life Liam Banfield left behind forever. He has zero interest in ever being that guy again. The mood snaps in an instant. A weapon comes up, a face hardens, and then the whole frame erupts. Whatever quiet life that was, it just got rewritten by force. Cut straight to Liam Banfield, already mid scheme and looking far too pleased with himself. He is absolutely certain the plan forming behind that smirk is peak villain material. The people around him, of course, hear a lord making another brilliant decision. Retainers lean in, reports fly. Liam lays out what he thinks is ruthless self interest, squeezing every advantage from his domain like a proper evil overlord should. To everyone listening, it sounds like visionary leadership. The conversation widens, faces turn serious as the state of the Banfield territory gets laid bare. Someone stands overlooking the land, and the word hanging in the air is simple: fallen. Liam hears a chance to grab power. Everyone else hears a lord who actually intends to fix things. Then the real Liam special begins. Plans lock into place, power flares at his fingertips, and the room fills with that dangerous confidence of a man who believes he is stacking the deck for himself alone. His people are already halfway to building a statue. Liam keeps pushing the villain act, calm and cold as he issues the next round of orders. Somewhere in the domain, the reaction is pure celebration. A loud woohoo cuts through the air like the Banfield house just hit the galactic lottery. Not everyone is cheering. The scene shifts to a far less comfortable corner of the story, where a prisoner in full striped regret sits waiting. Liam wants answers, and an evil lord does not ask twice. The temperature drops the moment a horned, winged figure steps into frame with a smile that promises trouble. This is exactly the kind of company Liam thinks a true villain should keep. Whatever deal or warning is being delivered, it drips with the sort of cosmic mischief that always seems to circle him. Back in the halls of influence, the political machinery grinds into motion. Serious faces, sharp questions, and the growing realization that Liam's latest selfish moves are rewriting the balance of power around his house, whether he means them to or not. One meeting bleeds into the next. Liam sits at the center of it all like a crime boss reviewing his empire, completely convinced he is terrifying. The people across from him look like they are staring at the most competent lord the sector has seen in decades. Then the smug smile arrives. A polished man with glasses wears the expression of someone who thinks he has already won. Across the cut, an orange haired girl looks ready to short circuit on the spot. Whatever news just landed, it hit like a fleet barrage. Accusations and counter moves fly. Dark looks, clenched fists, the full theater of noble politics. Liam watches the chaos with the calm of a man who already decided greed would carry the day, still missing that everyone else is reading his every move as justice. The room reaches a breaking point. Loyalties harden, sides form, and one unlucky figure discovers exactly how fast a career can unravel when you stand in the way of the Banfield domain's so called evil lord. And then the floor might as well disappear. Papers explode into the air as someone goes tumbling in the most dramatic fashion possible, reputation scattering with every sheet. Liam barely blinks, another obstacle removed the villain way. Next time, the galaxy will have even more reasons to misunderstand exactly what kind of Lord Liam Banfield really is. Chapter 19 drops us right into the middle of another perfectly ordinary day in Liam Banfield's territory, which of course means nothing stays ordinary for long. A stern faced figure delivers a quiet warning while the rest of the room carries on like the galaxy is not constantly one bad decision away from chaos. Our self proclaimed evil lord is about to remind everyone why his brand of villainy keeps accidentally looking like heroism. Cut to a lively cafe where a pack of young women are already deep in gossip, eyes sparkling with the kind of excitement that only follows Liam's latest ruthless stunt. They trade stories across the table, completely convinced their lord is a genius strategist rather than a guy trying to be selfish. Every laugh and gasp just piles more accidental glory onto the Banfield name. The chatter grows louder as more of the group piles in, pointing and whispering like they have just witnessed a legend in the making. Liam's retainers are already spinning his every move into proof that he is the greatest lord alive. He would be furious if he knew how wholesome it all sounds. Night falls, and the scene shifts to a bar where the real celebration begins. Drinks start flowing hard, glasses slam, and the girls cut loose with zero restraint. This is exactly the kind of decadent excess Liam would call properly villainous, yet it only makes his people love him more. Laughter explodes across the counter as one blonde reveler throws her head back and the maid beside her matches the energy drink for drink. They are toasting their lord's greed and cruelty while looking like the happiest people in the empire. Liam's evil influence has somehow created the galaxy's most loyal party crew. The conversation turns sharper between rounds, faces leaning in close as plans and rumors fly. Then the chapter hits us with a sudden dreamlike vision of a long haired beauty suspended in light, an image so striking it feels like the universe itself is reminding Liam what kind of spoils an evil lord is supposed to claim. He would call it motivation, everyone else would call it destiny. Back in the real world, the mood snaps serious again. Liam and his circle trade rapid fire words, expressions tight with the weight of whatever scheme he is cooking up next. He is certain he is being magnificently selfish. His audience hears only the voice of a lord who actually cares. Tension spikes when a weapon comes up and the room freezes. Liam stays gone calm, laying out his next move like a true tyrant who refuses to be crossed. The people around him look ready to follow him into a black hole without question. The talk continues in lower tones, Liam gesturing like a man who already owns the outcome. Behind them, shelves of rare bottles gleam, the kind of luxury an evil lord stockpiles just to flex. Every order he gives only tightens the loyalty noose around his unsuspecting neck. The group keeps circling the same point, faces lit with absolute faith while Liam remains convinced he is manipulating them all. Outside, the air is cooler, but the devotion is not. Another day, another crowd ready to get taken out on the hill of his accidental benevolence. They step out into the open and the conversation follows, a young woman matching Liam's pace while the others trail behind. Then an elegant white-haired man appears with a composed young lady at his side, the kind of meeting that smells like high-level empire politics. Liam treats it like another chance to be properly villainous. A bright-haired girl practically vibrates with excitement at whatever just unfolded, while the rest of the group processes the new information. Liam's reputation is doing the heavy lifting again, turning simple appearances into proof of his unmatched power. He still thinks he is the bad guy in this story. Blades come out without warning. A fierce exchange erupts in the open, steel flashing as two fighters test everything they have against each other. Sparks fly, feet dig in, and the clash looks personal. Liam's world never stays peaceful for long when someone decides to challenge the order he accidentally built. When the dust settles, the white-haired man is seated like a king holding court, calm words cutting sharper than any sword. Nearby, two sharply dressed figures in shades watch the aftermath with unreadable smiles, the kind of men who only appear when bigger games are starting. Liam has no idea how many new pieces just moved onto his board. And then the chapter leaves us on a single quiet image, a long-haired girl sitting alone, head bowed, the weight of everything unsaid pressing down on her. Whatever just shifted in Liam's orbit has left someone hurting, and the self-proclaimed evil lord is still completely blind to the loyalty and heartbreak swirling around him. Next time, the consequences are going to get personal. Chapter 20 opens on the quiet machinery of power. While Liam is off playing the part of a ruthless young lord, the people around him are already treating every order he gives like scripture from a living legend. Reports pile up, advisors lean over glowing displays, mapping fleets, budgets, and pirate activity. To them, this is the careful planning of a genius ruler. To Liam, somewhere in the back of his mind, it is simply the paperwork of a proper villain building his empire. The mood hardens. A sharp-eyed officer lays out the stakes with zero patience for soft answers. Somewhere out there, trouble is brewing, and the Banfield name is about to be attached to the solution, whether Liam likes the heroic optics or not. Then the sky lights up. A sudden BWAAAM rips across the field as combat power gets put on full display. Mechs and firepower answer the call, and once again, Liam's idea of casual intimidation looks to everyone else like a righteous purge of scum. In the aftermath, officers stand stiff and silent. The chain of command is locked in. Nobody is questioning the young lord who just casually rearranged the local balance of power. Cut to quieter halls. Liam moves through daily life surrounded by people who hang on his every word. He is absolutely certain he is manipulating them. They are absolutely certain they serve the greatest master in the sector. A retainer drops to one knee. Loyalty this intense would make any normal villain suspicious. Liam just files it under efficient management and keeps walking like this is all going according to his dark master plan. Classmates and companions press in with questions, admiration, and the kind of easy trust Liam never got in his old life. He answers with cool detachment, fully convinced he is keeping them at arm's length. The result, of course, is even deeper devotion. For a moment, the mask slips into something almost like a grin. Liam thinks he has them all dancing on strings. Around him, the group simply sees a lord who actually listens, actually protects them, and actually wins. Even lighter conversations turn into proof of his legend. A few casual words, a little show of confidence, and another cluster of people walk away certain they are witnessing greatness in real time. Then the stage gets bigger. A grand estate rises ahead, all stone, banners, and old money. Liam is heading straight into high society, still planning to play the villain, still completely unprepared for how dazzling he looks doing it. An elegant, noble woman receives him with perfect poise. Every courtesy he offers as calculated self interest reads as refined grace. By the time they sit down to talk, the room already belongs to him. A distinguished older gentleman weighs Liam in silence. This is the kind of man who has seen countless young lords come and go. What he sees now is not a spoiled brat playing dress up, he sees a force that cannot be ignored. Alone with his thoughts, Liam sinks into the familiar fantasy. He is the evil lord. He is using everyone. He is stacking power for himself alone. The tragedy and the joke is that every step of that fantasy keeps making the galaxy a better place. The circle around him tightens with pride and excitement. Gasps, cheers, and shining eyes follow a result Liam barely considers special. To him, it was just another selfish move. To them, it is proof their lord can do anything. One last surge of pure celebration seals the chapter. While Liam quietly congratulates himself on another perfectly villainous success, the people who serve him are ready to follow him into the next storm without hesitation, and that storm is already on the way. Take a breath from the fleet battles, because Chapter 20.1 is a special side story and it is weaponized wholesome. Gift season has hit the Banfield territory, and Liam is about to attempt something truly diabolical. He has prepared presents for his retainers. In Liam's head, this is peak villain strategy. Shower them with expensive gifts, make them dependent, buy their loyalty so thoroughly they can never escape his evil grasp. The boxes start opening and the reactions are instant. Smiles, stunned silence, overwhelmed thanks. Every single person looks like they just received a personal blessing from the heavens instead of a calculated bribe. Knights, officials, staff, one after another, they light up. Someone is already treating the gift like a family treasure. Liam watches the parade of gratitude and mentally ticks off another successful scheme. Even the quieter retainers cannot keep it together. Promises to treasure the gifts forever fill the air. The evil lord has them right where he wants them, which is to say, fanatically devoted and happier than they have ever been. And then we get the money shot, Liam's face, that soft, slightly flustered look of a man who is absolutely certain he is winning at being terrible. The gap between his internal monologue and reality has never been wider. Meanwhile, the girls are comparing Hall like it is the best day of their lives. Chatter, laughter, pure delight. Every gift is another brick in the monument of loyalty they are building to the man who thinks he is corrupting them. Then one of the more unhinged knights appears, hugging her present with sparkles in her eyes and the energy of someone who would now burn a star system for him. Liam has no idea how dangerous his bribery just became. Soft smiles keep coming, quiet, heartfelt thanks. The entire scene is warm enough to melt armor plating. Somewhere the guide is watching this masterclass in accidental benevolence and losing its mind. Rosetta steps in with the gentlest possible energy, repeating that everything is fine, it is all fine. The found family atmosphere hits maximum while Liam sits there convinced he has just tightened his evil stranglehold on everyone he knows. Chapter 21 kicks off with a title that sounds humble and is anything but No Name Sword Style. Liam Banfield has decided that a true evil lord needs more than fleets and money. He needs to be terrifying up close, so he throws himself into sword training like the galaxy itself offended him. His retainers watch him drill and immediately start spinning it into legend. To Liam, this is pure selfish power hoarding. To everyone else, it looks like a young lord who refuses to let his people down, training until his hands shake so he can protect the territory himself. The sparring gets serious fast. Blades flash, instructors bark corrections, and Liam keeps asking for harder opponents. He is convinced he is forging a weapon of tyranny. The people around him are just quietly proud their lord will not hide behind bodyguards. He even mixes in brutal physical conditioning, hammering a bag like it personally insulted his honor. Every punch is supposed to make him scarier. Instead, it just makes the training staff whisper that Lord Banfield has the work ethic of a saint and the stamina of a monster. Then the chapter reminds us this is still an intergalactic empire, A sudden blast lights up the void as another pirate nuisance gets the Liam treatment. He calls it efficient pest control. The sector will call it salvation. Back on the ground, the training only intensifies. Firearms drills, rapid draws, live targets. Liam wants every tool of domination at his fingertips. His instructors can barely keep up and start looking at him like he is already a finished weapon. The real showstopper is the blade work. Steel rings out in a clean, vicious exchange that leaves sparks in the air. Liam is hunting for a style with no fancy house name attached, something raw he can claim as his own evil signature. Meanwhile, the inner circle gathers. Reports, holograms, and worried faces fill the room as they try to keep pace with a lord who treats self improvement like a military campaign. They are not afraid of him, they are afraid of falling short of him. One retainer after another tries to process what they are seeing. Liam thinks he is stacking advantages for future conquest. They think they are watching the birth of a ruler who will drag the entire Banfield name back to glory, whether the galaxy likes it or not. The political side of the house keeps humming along. Formal meetings, careful words, and the constant background knowledge that their young lord is off somewhere turning himself into a one-man army. Loyalty in this room is already past the point of no return. Even the women of the household cannot stop talking about it. They trade stories of his training schedule and his ridiculous standards, half exasperated and half glowing. Liam would be horrified if he knew he was collecting admirers instead of fear. Excitement spikes when new data hits the screens. Fleet movements, training results, the whole rising machine of the Banfield domain. The girls lean in like they are watching a hero's highlight reel. Liam, somewhere swinging a sword, still thinks he is the villain of this picture. Then the chapter delivers the pure spectacle it promised. A white haired swordsman unleashes a clean, frightening demonstration, blades singing through the air while a blonde attendant can only stare. This is the no name style in motion, stripped of house pride and built for winning. Liam's face says everything. He has found the path he wants, a style with no famous crest and no gentle reputation. Perfect for an evil lord who plans to carve his name into the stars the hard way. And standing alone at the end of the chapter is the man who carries that nameless tradition. He looks ready. Liam looks hungrier than ever. Whatever comes next, the galaxy is about to learn what happens when a self proclaimed villain finally gets the sword arm to match the ambition. Chapter 22 opens on pure shock. A young woman stares at her device like the galaxy just flipped upside down, and if you have been following Liam Banfield, you already know why. Another impossible headline just dropped, and it has his name written all over it. The news spreads fast. Inside the Banfield estate, the retainers are already in full gossip mode, trading theories and barely contained excitement. Liam's latest move has everyone convinced their lord is playing four-dimensional chess. The ladies are especially fired up. One enthusiastic round of applause later, and the entire room is buzzing with plans, praise, and the absolute certainty that Lord Liam can do no wrong. He would be horrified if he knew. Not every conversation is pure celebration. Quiet calculations and careful glances fill the next rooms as people try to figure out how to stay on the good side of the galaxy's most terrifying young lord. Spoiler: just existing near him seems to be enough. Then the energy goes nuclear. A dramatic figure bursts onto the scene declaring, "My darling husband," with zero chill and maximum flair. Liam's carefully cultivated evil lord image did not prepare him for this level of personal chaos. He tries to recover with cold villain energy, of course. Cool stares, clipped answers, the whole performance. Everyone around him just hears a composed, reliable leader handling a delicate situation with grace. Before long, the conversation moves to the stars. A massive Banfield vessel fills the view, and suddenly the scale of Liam's growing power is impossible to ignore. He looks out at it, thinking, "Yes, fear me." His people look out, thinking, "We are so lucky." Strategy time. Liam lays out orders with the ruthless efficiency of a man who wants to be seen as a tyrant. His officers hang on every word like he just handed them the secrets of the universe. Even the more unusual members of his circle watch with total devotion, one quiet, intense stare after another, and you can feel the loyalty solidifying. Liam remains convinced he is simply managing useful tools. A determined expression settles over one of his key allies as the real operation begins. Out in the black, fleets slide into position and the scanners light up with unfriendly signatures. Something big is about to happen. The tension snaps. Enemy forces appear in force, and Liam's side answers with perfect coordination. He steps forward every inch the dark conqueror he has always wanted to be. And right on cue, the opposition makes an entrance. A flamboyant commander in a ridiculous hat and flowing cape poses like he has been waiting his whole life for this spotlight. He has absolutely no idea the kind of villain he just challenged. The battle erupts in a storm of beams and bursting hulls. Liam's fleet tears through the enemy formation with overwhelming, almost casual force. From the outside, it looks like pure villainous domination. From every other angle, it looks like salvation. When the light show ends, Liam stands tall amid the wreckage of another crushed threat. He is certain he has just reminded the galaxy to fear his name. The people beside him see only the Lord who once again kept them safe. His retainers can barely keep it together. One loud, overwhelmed shout later, and the adoration is total. Liam Banfield, self proclaimed evil lord, has done it again, and the next storm gathering on the horizon is going to test that legend even harder. Chapter 23 opens on a simple idea that Liam is certain will cement his reputation as a proper evil lord. He wants a personal knight, not for protection, for the aesthetics. A terrifying enforcer who answers only to him should make the whole galaxy tremble. Back at the Banfield estate, the discussion is already underway. Liam lays out his requirements with the confidence of a man who has never once been right about how people will interpret him. He wants someone strong, loyal, and preferably a little intimidating. One candidate lounges like she already owns the place. Another group of hopefuls and retainers trade opinions while Liam listens with the expression of a villain drafting his next scheme. In his head, this is pure selfish power hoarding. The conversation keeps circling the same point. Whoever takes the role will stand at Liam's side in every battle and every political knife fight the Empire throws at him. To everyone else, it sounds like a lord carefully choosing a guardian for his people. To Liam, it sounds deliciously tyrannical. One young woman in particular lights up at the chance. She is already picturing the glory. Liam, of course, is picturing the fear her presence will inspire in his enemies. The gap between those two fantasies is about to become a running joke all by itself. Practical details get hammered out. Training, equipment, authority. Liam waves it all through because a true evil lord delegates the boring parts and keeps the dramatic ones. His staff walk away more impressed than ever. Then the universe reminds everyone that Banfield territory is never quiet for long. An explosion rocks the area, alarms, shocked faces, and the sudden understanding that someone has decided today is a wonderful day to pick a fight. An older retainer looks almost proud of the chaos. Liam simply stares toward the threat with the calm of a man who has already decided this inconvenience will be useful. After all, what better stage for a brand new personal knight? Orders fly. The new knight is going out there. Liam frames it as ruthlessly throwing a subordinate into danger for his own benefit. Everyone else hears a lord trusting his chosen warrior with the safety of the domain. The personal knight launches in full mobile-knight armor, a gleaming engine of destruction. One dramatic step onto the battlefield, and the tone of the entire engagement changes. Liam watches like a director who just cast the perfect villainous henchman. The enemy force never stood a chance. One clean engagement later, and their formation is coming apart in spectacular fashion. Explosions light the void while Liam's new knight carves through the opposition like they personally offended her lord. A single devastating slash finishes the job. Wreckage tumbles through space, and the remaining hostiles scatter. From the bridge, it looks like effortless dominance. Liam is already congratulating himself on how intimidating the whole display must appear. The battle wraps with the kind of one-sided efficiency that only makes Liam's legend grow. Pilots and crew can only stare as the new knight dismantles everything in her path. Somewhere in his head, Liam is certain he just looked like a ruthless warlord. When the dust settles, the knight returns in triumph, the picture of absolute loyalty. Liam has his personal enforcer. The territory has another reason to adore him. And once again, the self-proclaimed evil lord has no idea he just became even more of a hero. Last time, the battlefield was already a mess of flashing beams and screaming metal. Liam's forces were locked in a brutal scrap with a pirate armada that thought raiding Banfield space was a smart career move. Spoiler, it was not. The enemy mechs come screaming in hard. Cannons hot, convinced numbers and attitude will carry the day. Liam's pilots answer the only way this fleet knows how, by turning the void into a fireworks show the pirates will never forget. On the bridge, calm voices cut through the chaos. Orders snap out, targeting data locks. To everyone watching, this looks like a master tactician conducting a symphony of destruction. To Liam, this is just Tuesday's villainy checklist. The pirate line starts to buckle. One volley after another rips through their formation, and suddenly the hunters realize they are the ones being hunted. Liam's people do not just win fights, they make examples. A Banfield pilot drops straight into the thick of it, thrusters flaring, blade systems live. The enemy cockpit fills the view for half a second before everything goes very, very bright. Another pirate call sign is wiped off the board. Meanwhile, a boarding team storms an enemy corridor like they own the deed to the ship. Boots hammer the deck, weapons up. The pirates inside get a very short lesson in why you do not pick a fight with House Banfield. Outside, the mech duel turns vicious. One of Liam's machines catches an enemy unit mid-swing and answers with a point-blank blast that sends wreckage tumbling through the dark. Clean, efficient, absolutely terrifying to watch. Back in the command lounge, the staff can barely keep the grins off their faces. Reports keep flooding in, enemy losses climbing, Banfield casualties almost non-existent. They are watching their lord casually dismantle a pirate fleet and treating it like a weather update. The fleet guns open up in full. Capital ship beams lance across the void and turn pirate hulls into drifting scrap. From a distance, it looks like the night sky itself decided to take Liam's side. On the ground side of the operation, the analysts and knights track every movement on their screens. One of them leans in, almost impressed against her will. Even the people who know Liam best keep forgetting he thinks this is him being selfish. Then comes the finishing move. A Banfield machine charges straight down the enemy's throat and unleashes a colossal energy blast that lights up half the sector. The pirate flagship does not get a second chance. It is simply gone. The bridge erupts in restrained cheers and wide eyes. Another pirate force has been erased under Liam's banner, and every retainer present is more convinced than ever that their lord is a genius of war. Liam, naturally, is just glad the annoying pests are out of his hair. The after-action chatter is pure admiration. Knights and staff trade notes on the battle like they just watched a legend write itself in real time. Nobody bothers correcting the man at the center of it, because why ruin a perfect misunderstanding? And then Liam gets a look at the real prize of the day. Whatever he is staring at leaves him speechless for a full second before he blurts out the only review that matters. Super, super. The self-proclaimed evil lord has found something he absolutely has to have, and the galaxy should probably start worrying now. Chapter 25 drops us straight into the Banfield domain, where the self-proclaimed evil lord Liam is once again convinced he is about to do something wonderfully selfish. A certain maiden is about to become the center of attention, and Liam has absolutely no idea how heroic this is all going to look. Outside the restored Banfield estate, retainers bustle about like the place is already a rising power. Inside, serious talks are underway. Liam's people are treating every order he gives as the wisdom of a genius ruler, while he privately congratulates himself on being cold and calculating. The conversations keep stacking up. Advisors, knights, and household staff all circle around the latest developments in the territory. Every time Liam tries to sound menacing, someone else hears a lord who genuinely cares about results and the people under him. Then comes the classic Banfield household chaos. Someone lets out a full wah of panic, papers fly, and the carefully maintained image of a ruthless, evil estate lasts about 3 seconds. Liam's staff are loyal to a fault, which only confuses him more. Old butler Brian looks on with that familiar mix of pride and mild despair. He has served the Banfield line through its worst years, and now he gets to watch young Master Liam accidentally rebuild everything while insisting he is the villain of the galaxy. A striking woman with long dark hair takes the focus, the weight of the moment sitting on her shoulders. Whatever request or duty has brought her here, Liam is already framing it in his head as another chance to be properly evil and take advantage. Spoiler, that is not how anyone else will read it. Then the room lights up, a surge of power, a successful demonstration, and everyone present stares in awe. Liam chalks it up to useful military research for future domination. His people see a lord pouring resources into strength that will protect the entire domain. Later, the mood shifts to something far more relaxed. The women of the household head for the hot spring, steam rising, conversation turning casual. Even an evil lord's estate apparently comes with luxury baths because Liam decided comfort for his retainers was simply efficient. The bath talk continues, equal parts gossip and genuine affection for their ridiculous master. Close ups catch every reaction as they try to understand the man who keeps calling himself a tyrant while making their lives better. Liam, of course, remains blissfully unaware. Cut to Liam himself, expression sharp, already plotting the next move that will definitely prove how wicked he is. Around him, the household shifts into formal mode again. Meetings, reports, and that constant undercurrent of people who would follow him into any fight. Faces tighten with resolve. A tall, elegant figure stands before him, and the room feels the weight of loyalty locking into place. Someone throws a full fist pump of pure excitement because nothing fires up this cast like Liam announcing another of his so called villainous plans. Training turns real in a hurry. A clean wham lands as combat practice kicks off, energy crackling across the yard. Liam watches with the satisfied look of a man who thinks he is forging weapons for conquest. Everyone else sees a lord who refuses to let his people stay weak. The action escalates, power flares, a dramatic figure in a long coat commands the frame, and the whole sequence feels like a highlight reel from a war epic. Liam is certain this is the kind of overwhelming force an evil lord should flex. His enemies, whenever they show up, are going to have a very bad day. Back at the estate, the Kukuri weapons factory is booming. Newest top sales personnel stand ready, maids bow with perfect timing, and the military industrial side of Liam's territory keeps expanding because he wanted bigger guns and fancier gear for his own glory. A sharp blonde in a suit seals the professional vibe, while elsewhere, a ridiculous teddy bear moment gets an honest EW and UMP for comedy relief. Even the lighter beats still feed the same legend. Liam Banfield, terrifying evil lord, accidentally beloved by everyone who works for him. Chapter 26 hits like a shockwave. An explosion tears across the scene, and then we drop straight into a raw, ugly memory. A girl struck again and again while she breaks down in tears. Whatever this past is, it is the kind of wound that shapes a person forever. The title lands with quiet force. Thank you. And there she is, an elegant woman with impossibly long hair, coat sharp, presence impossible to ignore. This is not a side character stroll. This is the kind of entrance that means the politics just got personal. Inside the Banfield sphere, the talking starts immediately. Retainers trade reports and half whispered theories, every one of them trying to keep pace with their lord's latest moves. The energy in the room is pure, devoted chaos. One unfortunate soul is melting down at his desk. Serving an evil lord should feel like walking a tightrope over a volcano. The problem is Liam's brand of villainy keeps looking like competent, generous rule, and the cognitive dissonance is cooking this man alive. The reports keep coming, then the camera finally finds the man himself, Liam Banfield, eyes blazing, darkness curling around him like a cape he ordered custom made. He is locked in full villain mode and has never looked more like a hero. Liam takes the field in a ridiculous wide brimmed hat and absolute confidence. A blonde companion keeps pace while he monologues about ruthless schemes. She hears brilliant strategy. He hears pure distilled evil. That gap is the entire series in one frame. He lays out the plan with a smirk that could curdle milk. Every sentence is crafted to sound menacing. Every person listening walks away more loyal than before. Classic Liam. The man could announce he is stealing the moon and people would thank him for the lighting upgrade. Then the woman in the statement hat arrives. Feathers, drama, presents for days. The air in the room changes instantly. Whatever side she is on, we now have a proper confrontation on our hands. Voices overlap. Faces twist through shock, calculation, and awe. Liam stands at the center of the storm, dark energy crackling, completely convinced he is terrorizing these people into terrified obedience. And then he pulls the ultimate evil lord exit. Peewoof, smoke, silhouette, vanished. He leaves them stunned in his wake and files the whole thing under successful intimidation. The man is an artist. Back at the estate, the household processes the aftershock. One girl in particular stares at the space he left behind with a look that is equal parts exasperation and something much softer. Liam, naturally, remains blissfully unaware. The Banfield machine keeps rolling without missing a beat. Staff coordinate, plans lock into place, and the territory thrives under a lord who still genuinely believes he is leaking everyone dry for his own amusement. Knowledge is power in this empire, and someone is stacking that power the hard way. Books everywhere, pages flying. Fleets and mechs are flashy, but sometimes the sharpest weapon is simply doing the homework. The chapter closes on gratitude, a quiet, fierce embrace between Liam and the blonde who has stood beside him through the storm. She is thanking him. He is almost certainly inventing a villainous reason for why she has to. And as she glances back one last time, you can already feel the next storm gathering on the horizon. Chapter 27 is called Princess, and we open on Liam Banfield locked in a quiet stare down at the Imperial Academy. School uniforms, polished halls, and a self proclaimed evil lord who is already calculating how to turn every classmate into a stepping stone. He is convinced this place will let him finally act like the ruthless villain he always wanted to be. The academy is thick with noble gossip and whispered politics. Liam moves through the chatter like a man shopping for weaknesses, certain that every conversation is raw material for his next despicable scheme. Then the chapter delivers this vision, a radiant figure wreathed in light and power, floating like she owns the entire star system. If this is the princess of the title, she looks like the kind of prize an evil lord would love to claim for pure selfish glory. Conversations turn sharper and the tone darkens. Something heavier than ordinary school rivalry is moving under the surface, and Liam is right in the middle of it, already deciding how he can twist the situation to his advantage. Power erupts without warning. Energy tears across the scene as someone shows exactly why noble bloodlines still matter in this empire. Liam watches the spectacle with the hungry eyes of a man who thinks chaos is just free entertainment. Back in the polished corridors, the daily academy dance continues. Students cluster, alliances form, and Liam glides through it all, certain he is the most dangerous predator in the building. His classmates have no idea they are dealing with a self styled villain. The tension spikes hard. Liam faces someone important with that signature intensity. Then we cut to a formal gathering of his closest circle. Look at them standing ready in full regalia. They see a magnificent lord worth following to the ends of the galaxy. He sees useful tools for his evil empire. Class is technically in session, but Liam's mind is elsewhere. Numbers flash, lessons drone on, and our evil lord is already 3 schemes ahead of everyone else in the room. Even a quiet classroom becomes another stage for his villainous ambitions. An energetic girl bursts in with big news, and the entire mood flips. Silence drops like a curtain. The blonde noble looks completely stunned, and whatever just got revealed has the whole group holding its breath. A sudden buzz cuts through everything. A call comes in and faces go pale as fresh information hits. The Academy's careful balance is shifting fast, and Liam can practically smell the opportunity forming. Lunch becomes another battlefield of smiles and side eyes. Nobles eat, scheme, and measure each other while Liam sits among them, absolutely certain he is the most dangerous man at the table. In his head, this is all part of building his dark legend. The blonde noble has reached her limit. She fixes someone with a glare sharp enough to cut hull plating, and the temperature in the room drops. Liam, of course, is loving every second of the drama. The talk continues until the camera lands on Liam himself. That look, that quiet smile, he simply says, "How fun." In his mind, he has just spotted the perfect opening for something truly villainous, and the entire academy is about to feel it. The energy flips again as a girl makes a triumphant entrance, complete with a full ta-da flourish. Whatever she is presenting, the Academy's careful order is about to get another shakeup, and Liam is already calculating how to own the moment. More huddles, more rapid fire discussion, more people orbiting the man who thinks he is corrupting them. His circle hangs on every word, ready to charge into whatever selfish plan he invents next. They see a brilliant leader, he sees loyal pieces on his board. We close on a long haired figure glancing back while someone watches from behind. The princess thread is only beginning to tighten, and Liam Banfield has no idea how deep this particular game is about to go. Next time, the Academy's masks start coming off. Chapter 28 opens on Liam Banfield looking every bit the calculating young lord, and the title drops a name we are about to get very familiar with, Lysithea. Meanwhile, back at the academy, the rumor mill is already spinning at full speed. Students cannot stop whispering. Someone has done something outrageous enough to leave half the class with question marks floating over their heads, and the other half desperately trying to piece together what kind of monster walks their halls. One classmate is openly losing his mind over Liam's latest move. In true Liam fashion, whatever cold, self-serving scheme he thinks he just pulled has everyone else staring like they just witnessed a living legend. The frustration boils over. A furious student demands to know what on earth that guy is thinking, while another pair of classmates quietly size Liam up like he is a puzzle they will never solve. The gossip spills into a larger gathering. Nobles and students alike trade theories, and the more they talk, the more Liam's reputation as an untouchable prodigy solidifies. Exactly the opposite of the feared villain brand he is trying to build. A sharp eyed girl lays out the facts with clinical precision, and the room hangs on every word. Even the people who should be Liam's rivals cannot help sounding impressed. Cut to a lavish dinner table groaning under exquisite dishes. Liam is living the high life he always swore a proper evil lord deserves, treating the meal like a victory lap for his own greed. Then the air freezes. Absolute silence drops over the table as Liam and a composed young woman lock eyes, the kind of pause that says someone just realized the game is far bigger than they thought. Elsewhere, Lysithea sits alone with her thoughts, the weight of whatever she has set in motion pressing down hard. This is not the triumphant villain monologue she imagined. Memories and second guessing crash over her. She replays conversations, faces, and choices, while other girls nearby trade their own worried glances about the storm gathering around Liam's name. Outside, Lysithea stands in a quiet courtyard as if the open air might clear her head. The soft sound around her only makes the internal noise louder. Back indoors, the pressure mounts. Lysithea tries to talk herself into ruthlessness, the way a real schemer should, while the people around her keep treating the situation with far more gravity than she expected. A tense exchange follows. Someone is demanding answers, and Lysithea looks like she is holding onto a secret that is already slipping through her fingers. Then the truth hits like a fleet broadside. Lysithea declares she captured him, mission accomplished, just as planned. On paper, she did everything an ambitious operator should do. Except the victory feels hollow. Alone at her desk, Lysithea admits the capture worked and that she has no idea how to break the man she just dragged into her scheme. For once, someone else is discovering how impossible it is to play the villain when Liam Banfield is involved. Chapter 29 kicks off with Rosetta looking every inch the radiant lady of a rising house. Someone has come back into Liam Banfield's orbit, and the ripples are about to hit his carefully maintained image as the galaxy's most misunderstood villain. Flashbacks and side conversations pile up fast. Retainers, rivals, and hangers on are all whispering about the Banfield territory's sudden surge in power. Liam, of course, is convinced every upgrade is just him hoarding resources like a proper scoundrel. Even the stranger faces in the room cannot stop talking about him. A horned visitor gets pulled into the gossip, while Liam's people treat his latest selfish decrees like holy scripture. The gap between what he intends and what everyone else sees keeps widening. Meanwhile, the training halls and briefing rooms stay busy. Liam's knights and staff keep drilling because their lord demands excellence, which he privately files under making my minions useful. They hear inspiration, he hears villain monologue. Then the sky lights up. Enemy craft and Banfield machines tear into each other in a brutal fleet scrap. Liam ordered the intercept the second the hostiles annoyed him, fully believing he was being petty and cruel. The sector will remember it as heroic. On the ground, the celebration and the politics kick off at once. Crowds cheer the victory while Liam's inner circle already plans the next move. He still thinks he is squeezing the territory dry. They think he is building a paradise. Back inside the estate, the debriefs turn personal. Staff and guests trade stories about the Lord who keeps accidentally saving everyone. Liam listens, nodding along, certain they are finally grasping how terrifying he is. Another wave of combat footage rolls in. Banfield machines smash through the remaining opposition with ridiculous efficiency. Liam calls it ruthless resource denial. His people call it the birth of a legend. Two heavily armed women in custom gear step forward like the poster pair for the new Banfield military. They are loyal, lethal, and completely convinced their lord is a visionary. Liam just wanted flashy enforcers to scare the neighbors. In the quiet moments afterward, Liam sits with his closest circle and tries to sound cold and calculating. Every word of efficient management lands as compassion. The women around him hang on every sentence like he is handing out miracles. The conversations keep looping back to loyalty, territory, and the future. Liam outlines plans that sound, to him, deliciously self serving. Everyone else hears a lord who actually cares whether his people eat and whether his knights come home. Sparks fly again in close quarters training. Blades and energy clash while Liam watches like a proud tyrant inspecting his weapons. The fighters only want to prove themselves worthy of the man they already worship. Emotions run hot in the aftermath. Soft words and intense stares fill the room while Liam remains blissfully certain he is manipulating everyone. The people closest to him are simply falling harder for the evil lord who keeps protecting them. Liam finally stands tall in the middle of it all, suit sharp, expression pure smug villain energy. He has no idea the entire room sees a champion. One more dramatic pose and the legend grows another size. The last exchanges hit like a 1-2 punch. More praise, more loyalty, more plans that Liam files under conquest while everyone else files them under salvation. Then a sudden clash of power reminds the room that danger never stays gone for long. A soft smile and a single charged look freeze the moment. Liam's eyes go wide with pure shock as the truth of who came back and what they want finally lands. Whatever calm he thought he had just shattered, and the next chapter is going to hurt his villain reputation even more. Welcome back to the glorious mess that is Liam Banfield's life. Chapter 30 opens on the Imperial Academy, where our self proclaimed evil lord is stuck playing student instead of conquering sectors. The halls are buzzing, classmates are gossiping, and Liam is already calculating how to turn this whole education thing into a villainous power play. The classroom energy is pure chaos. Students lean over desks, trading rumors, while Liam sits there convinced that ignoring everyone and looking coldly superior is peak villain behavior. Spoiler, it just makes him look like the cool, unapproachable genius everyone wants to impress. More academy chatter fills the air. Retainers and classmates circle around Liam's orbit, reading deep strategy into every bored glance he throws. He thinks he is cultivating fear. They think he is a magnanimous young lord too busy with great affairs to waste words. Then the mood flips hard. An empty corridor, a shadow that does not belong. Something dark and wrong begins to loom over the academy grounds, and suddenly the light-hearted school day feels like the opening of a horror reel. The figure fully reveals itself, a towering armored nightmare that has no business walking these halls. Students freeze, panic ripples. Liam's people snap into defensive mode while our evil lord watches with the calm of a man already planning how to spin this into personal glory. Blast! Someone answers the threat with overwhelming force. The dark figure staggers as energy tears through the air. Liam barely lifts a finger, and the Academy already treats the whole takedown like a demonstration of his terrifying protective power. The armored menace still stands, radiating pure menace and monologuing like a final boss. One dramatic doom later, and the entire hallway knows this thing came looking for trouble in the wrong territory. Liam's reputation for wiping out threats just climbed another notch while he internally complains that the fight ended too fast. Aftermath settles over the academy. Students rehash the incident in hushed awe, already rewriting the story so that Liam orchestrated the entire defense like a mastermind. He just wanted the nuisance gone. They call it heroic leadership. Back to the daily grind of noble schooling. Classmates hover, girls exchange looks, and Liam continues his master plan of emotional distance. Every cold shoulder is interpreted as refined dignity. The gap between his self image and reality keeps getting wider. The social web tightens. Conversations swirl around feelings, loyalty, and who exactly has caught the young lord's eye. Liam remains gloriously oblivious, certain that any attention he receives is fear, not affection. His classmates are writing romance novels in their heads. Private time arrives. A composed blonde beauty corners Liam with careful words and elegant posture, trying to steer the conversation towards something personal. He sits there, treating the whole exchange like a tedious political negotiation he must endure. Meanwhile, another young woman has decided subtlety is overrated. She lounges across the bed with a wicked little laugh, fully committed to making her interest impossible to misread. Liam's evil lord brain is about to short circuit trying to file this under useful minion behavior. Feelings are flying from every direction now. The blonde returns to the frame, the darker haired girl doubles down, and Liam looks like a man who just realized his carefully built villain fortress has a romantic siege problem. He still thinks he is the one in control. And somewhere off to the side, one very amused observer is already laughing at how spectacularly Liam's evil plans keep producing devoted followers and complicated entanglements. The Academy arc is only heating up, and our evil lord has no idea how much worse his reputation for goodness is about to get. Welcome back to the galaxy's most successful accidental hero. Chapter 30.1 drops us into something Liam would absolutely call a ruthless long term investment school. Someone bolts upright with pure determination, ready to seize the day, and the morning scramble is already pure chaos. A cheerful girl hauls around what looks like the galaxy's most suspicious, oversized melon while the rest of the household tries to function. Breakfast, outfits, last second checks, everyone is locked in and somehow already late for the most important battlefield of all class. School is officially in session. Hallways fill, students trade gossip, and the whole place buzzes like a fleet preparing for launch. To Liam, this is just efficient human resource development. To everyone else, it looks like their magnificent lord actually cares whether the next generation can read a star chart. Inside the classroom, the usual suspects settle in, trading barbs and trying to look like they studied. The energy is pure student chaos, half focus, half daydream, 100% convinced that whatever happens next will somehow be Lord Liam's fault in the best way possible. And then the lesson plan goes full intergalactic. A training mecha slams through the exercise with an earth shaking auto break, turning a simple demonstration into a spectacle worthy of a fleet review. Students stare like they just watched a pirate armada get folded in half. Back in the seats, jaws are on the floor. Whatever point the instructor was trying to make about discipline and power just got underlined with a giant metal exclamation mark. This is Banfield education. Learn fast or get out of the way of the demo unit. The class tries to recover its dignity while side conversations explode. One student looks ready to combust from secondhand embarrassment, another is taking notes like this is the most normal Tuesday in the Empire. House Banfield's standards are simply built different. Even the mass produced maid robots of House Banfield somehow feel like they belong in this picture of aggressive self improvement. Liam installed top tier education because a smarter population pays more taxes and causes fewer headaches. Everyone else just sees a lord pouring resources into his people's future. The instructor keeps hammering the point home while a very intense student drinks in every word. In the back, someone is clearly calculating how to turn this lecture into personal glory. Classic Banfield classroom, half war college, half sitcom, zero chill. By the time the bell threatens to ring, one thing is obvious. Liam thinks he is forging obedient tools for his evil dominion. Instead, he is raising a generation that will follow him into the void without hesitation, convinced their Dark Lord is the greatest teacher the Empire has ever seen, and the next lesson is already loading. Chapter 30.5 pulls us out of the Grand Fleet battles for a moment and drops us straight into the Banfield household, where even the side stories refuse to stay quiet. Someone has clearly been running on fumes, clutching a watermelon the size of a small moon after staying up all night. Special courage is required when you present a fruit that big to a room full of hungry retainers. In Liam Banfield's territory, even a simple snack turns into a production number, because nothing under this so called evil lord is ever done halfway. And just like that, the whole table is packed, everyone digging in like the Banfield name itself guarantees a feast. Liam would insist he only feeds them so they stay useful. The people eating, they look like they would follow him into a black hole for another slice. Then the tone flips hard. Auto break. Giant frames slam into frame, and the peaceful meal energy gets replaced by pure mechanical spectacle. Because, of course, House Banfield has mass produced combat hardware ready to throw hands at a moment's notice. Back among the people, the conversations get serious fast. Retainers lean in, trading plans and reactions like the fate of the territory hangs on every word. Liam's idea of ruthless efficiency keeps looking suspiciously like competent leadership from every angle except his own. The talk keeps rolling, faces intense, gestures sharp. Whatever new system or order has come down from their lord, these people are treating it like gospel. The gap between what Liam thinks he is doing and what everyone else experiences has never been wider. More voices pile on, the household buzzing with the kind of loyalty you cannot buy, and Liam would never admit he accidentally earned. He wanted fear and obedience. He keeps getting devotion and late night watermelon parties instead. And here is the real star of this side chapter, Tetsuma, front and center for a spotlight on House Banfield's mass produced maid robots. Liam almost certainly ordered an army of them to look like a proper tyrant with endless servants at his beck and call. Except these are not cold tools. The maid robots chat, react, and slot into daily life like they have always belonged. Liam's evil scheme to flood his estate with disposable labor has somehow produced another layer of fiercely capable staff who make the whole territory run smoother. Look at them. House Banfield's mass produced maid robots stand there with personality, presence, and the quiet certainty that they serve the greatest lord in the Empire. Liam is convinced he built an army of soulless minions for his dark reign. Everyone else sees family, and the next time school is back in session, that misunderstanding is only going to get louder. Welcome back to the glorious mess that is Liam Banfield's attempt at villainy. Chapter 31 opens on his estate, where the ever efficient staff are already buried in reports, graphs, and the endless work of running a territory that keeps getting richer no matter how hard its lord tries to be selfish. The topic of the day is simple. Liam wants more knights. A proper evil lord needs a private army of fanatics, after all. He figures if he gathers strong fighters under his banner, he can crush anyone who annoys him and look magnificently ruthless doing it. Word goes out and the applicants start rolling in. One look at their situation tells the whole story. These people are broke, flat broke, no money, no prospects, nowhere else to go. Perfect raw material for an evil lord who wants disposable swords. Liam looks over the crowd of hopefuls and decides this is his moment. He will take them in, bind them with salaries and status, and mold them into tools of his ambition. In his head, this is pure exploitation. To everyone watching, it looks like a great lord lifting the desperate out of ruin. His existing retainers are already buzzing with excitement. They see their lord expanding the house's strength and giving worthy fighters a future. Liam, of course, is just congratulating himself on how cleverly he is stacking the deck in his own favor. Talk is cheap. Liam wants proof, so the new candidates get thrown straight into combat trials because an evil lord does not waste time on weaklings. If they cannot fight, they are useless to him. Blades come out. The training hall turns into a storm of clashes and near misses as the hopefuls push themselves to the limit. Liam watches with the cold eye of a man selecting weapons, completely missing how inspired everyone else is by the chance to prove themselves under him. Sparks fly, steel rings, and a few standout fighters start to shine. The kind of people who would follow a strong lord to the edge of the galaxy. Liam just nods and files them under useful assets I now own. Meanwhile, the usual chaos continues in the background. His knight commanders are already getting dramatic about the new red Kool-Aid, and one particularly loud reaction nearly takes the roof off. The House of Banfield does not do quiet recruitment drives. Later, in a quieter office, Liam sits down with a certain blonde noblewoman to go over the bigger picture. House strength, future plans, the image he is projecting to the rest of the empire. He thinks he is scheming. She thinks she is watching a lord build something legendary. But not every shadow in the empire is friendly. Somewhere away from the bright halls of the Banfield estate, a far darker presence is taking notice of the rising young lord and his rapidly growing force of knights. Two figures stand together like the calm before a political storm, discussing the Banfield name with the kind of weight that means trouble is already on the move. Liam just got his new knights. He has no idea how many eyes are suddenly watching what he does with them. And somewhere in the middle of all this ambition, loyalty, and incoming drama, one small, quiet moment lingers. The evil lord of an intergalactic empire has expanded his forces again. Next time, we find out what happens when those new knights actually have to earn their keep. Liam Banfield is still trying with all his heart to become the galaxy's most terrifying evil lord. His inner circle is already buzzing about the next stage of his grand plan, and every ruthless idea he floats just makes them more devoted. Word of the Banfield rise is spreading fast. Powerful players across the empire are watching closely, and this particular noble looks ready to make Liam's life complicated. Back home, the strategy talk continues. Liam is convinced he is about to do something truly despicable for personal gain. His people hear a visionary lord preparing to elevate the entire house. And here comes the perfect stage for villainy, the Mobile Knight Tournament. Giant mechs, roaring crowds, and Liam ready to crush the field just to prove how ruthless and superior he is. Spectators are already whispering about the mysterious young lord from the fallen Banfield family. Liam intends to make sure none of them ever forget the name. When the matches begin, he does not hold back. Liam tears through the bracket with overwhelming force, certain that dominating everyone will cement his reputation as a monster. The crowd loses its mind. Every brutal technique he unleashes just looks like brilliant, heroic combat to the people watching. Liam remains blissfully unaware. Then the tone shifts. A young knight is getting shoved around by stronger competitors. She shouts for them to stop bullying her while the rest of the field looks the other way. Liam sees a perfect chance to assert dominance. He steps in not out of kindness, but because weaklings getting pushed around is inefficient and annoys him. The bullies never know what hit them. The offenders are wiped out of the tournament in spectacular fashion. Liam stands over the result, certain he has just committed another act of pure villainy by humiliating them so thoroughly. To everyone else, he has just become the champion of the week. Even a hooded observer can only watch as Liam's legend grows yet again against his will. After the dust settles, the conversations turn serious. Liam's selfish display of power has once more won him fierce new loyalty and political weight he never asked for. And then there is this bold young woman determined to catch the evil lord's eye. She strikes a pose that leaves almost nothing to the imagination, ready to throw herself into his service. Liam can only stare, completely thrown off balance. For a man trying so hard to stay cold and ruthless, these constant waves of admiration are getting harder to process. But the tournament is far from finished. A massive blast lights up the arena as the next challenge arrives, and Liam prepares to show the entire galaxy exactly why they should fear the name Banfield. Chapter 33 opens on the so-called sweetest day, and the Banfield household is buzzing. Liam's people are trading gifts, trading gossip, and generally acting like their lord is the most wonderful man alive. He, of course, is somewhere convinced this is all part of his ruthless image. The girls are deep in conversation, comparing notes and looking far too pleased with themselves. Whatever scheme they are cooking up, it is wrapped in ribbons and good intentions. Liam would call it inefficient sentiment. Everyone else calls it loyalty. More retainers pile into the chatter. Someone is blushing, someone is teasing, and the whole scene feels suspiciously wholesome for a household run by a self-proclaimed evil lord. The gap between Liam's villain fantasy and reality just keeps getting wider. The sweetest day energy spills across the estate. Gifts change hands, smiles flash, and every retainer seems more devoted than the last. Liam wanted fear and obedience. He accidentally built a fan club. A sharper conversation cuts through the warmth. One of the knights leans in close, intensity written all over her face, while another figure processes news that clearly involves their lord. Something bigger than chocolates is moving in the background. A young man stares into the middle distance, the weight of the Banfield name settling on the room. Outside, crowds are already reacting to Liam's latest moves. To them, he is a rising star. To himself, he is still the galaxy's most misunderstood villain. And then the mood flips. Armor seals, weapons power up, someone snarls that they have been waiting for this exact moment. The sweetest day just got an intergalactic battlefield attached to it. Mechs surge into the fray. Energy lances light up the void, and the Banfield forces slam into the enemy line with zero hesitation. Liam's people fight like they are protecting a legend, which is hilarious because their lord still thinks he is the bad guy. A freezing blast tears across the battlefield with a shout of Glake. Ice and raw power smash into the opposing machines while Liam's side presses the advantage. Spectacle, dominance, and another accidental public relations win. The enemy formation buckles, pilots scramble, hulls crack, and the Banfield Knights keep coming. Every ruthless order Liam ever gave is paying off in the most heroic-looking way possible. A figure tumbles through open space as the fight peaks. One massive energy discharge later, and the tide is no longer in doubt. The battle has turned hard, and it turned on the reputation of a man who still believes he is evil. On the bridge and in the corridors, faces tighten with resolve. An armored nightmare stalks the field while Liam's people refuse to flinch. They are not fighting for a tyrant, they are fighting for the lord who accidentally saved them. Close combat erupts, blades flash, armor sparks, and one brutal exchange leaves the opposition reeling. Liam's forces do not just win skirmishes, they make statements. In the aftermath, orders fly and corridors fill with purposeful movement. The sweetest day and the battlefield have somehow become the same story, and every retainer looks more fanatically devoted than before. The enemy commander fills the frame, rage and disbelief twisting together as Banfield power closes in. Somewhere far from the red Kool-Aid and the wreckage, Liam is probably congratulating himself on another perfectly villainous day. A dark shape still waits in the wings, claws ready and unfinished business hanging in the air. The sweetest day is over. The next fight is already smiling back. and Liam still has no idea he is the hero of this story. Summer break hits the Banfield territory, and Liam is determined to spend it like a proper evil lord, lounging around, ignoring paperwork, and letting everyone else scramble. Rosetta, ever the earnest fiancée, shows up ready for quality time and maybe a little sword practice, while Liam just wants peace and quiet to scheme. They settle in for tea like civilized nobles. Rosetta is glowing about the break, and Liam is already calculating how to look maximally selfish while doing absolutely nothing. The chapter title drops, That Summer Break. What could possibly go wrong? The conversation stays light until the mood shifts. Reports start filtering in, something is moving in Banfield's space, and Liam's carefully planned lazy vacation is about to get very loud. Out in the black, a pirate force decides this is the perfect moment to test the young lord's borders. Debris drifts, sensors light up. Liam's idea of a relaxing break now includes an uninvited fleet that thinks the Banfield name still means easy pickings. The Banfield fleet answers the only way Liam knows how: overwhelming theatrical force. Explosions bloom across the void as his ships tear into the raiders. To Liam, this is ruthless villainy, crushing weaker foes for sport. To everyone watching, it is a lord defending his people without hesitation. Mobile suits launch, pilots push hard. One of Liam's knights cuts through the enemy line in a blaze of thrusters and steel, turning the pirate formation into scrap. The raiders came looking for a soft target and found a meat grinder instead. The battle only escalates. Capital ships trade fire. Beams lance through the dark. Liam's forces keep the pressure on until the pirate fleet starts coming apart piece by piece. This is the kind of one-sided spectacle that builds legends, whether Liam wants them or not. A final flash of a blade ends the last serious resistance. The pirates are finished. Their ships drift as wrecks, and the Banfield colors hold the field. Liam will later insist this was pure greed and cruelty. His people will call it salvation. Back on the bridge and in the aftermath, the crew is buzzing. Reports confirm the raiders are wiped out. Liam takes the news with the grim satisfaction of a man who thinks he just terrorized the sector, completely missing the hero worship lighting up every face around him. The last enemy suit goes down hard. Cleanup begins. Liam's knights and captains look ready to follow him into the next fight without question, which only convinces him further that fear is working perfectly. Meanwhile, back in the territory offices, the bureaucrats are already spinning the victory into policy. A bespectacled official runs the numbers while staff scramble. Liam's idea of evil efficiency keeps accidentally looking like competent, generous governance. Rosetta and the other girls catch up on the news of the battle. Pride, relief, and a little awe mix together. They know their lord just crushed another threat, and they are more devoted than ever. Liam, of course, assumes they are simply too scared to complain. A quiet moment lands on one of the young women processing everything that just happened. Summer break was supposed to be calm. Instead, it became another chapter in the legend of the terrifyingly benevolent Lord Banfield. The girls share a lighter beat after the chaos, smiling like the future suddenly looks brighter. Liam remains convinced he is stacking up villain points. The rest of the galaxy is busy writing ballads about their magnificent protector. And just like that, summer break ends with another pirate fleet erased and another wave of loyalty Liam will never understand. Next time, the consequences of looking this heroic are going to get a lot more complicated. Welcome back to the glorious disaster that is Liam Banfield's villain arc. Chapter 35 drops us straight into Academy life, where our self-proclaimed evil lord is surrounded by nobles, uniforms, and people who keep mistaking his every cold calculation for heroic brilliance. Liam sits through another round of polite Academy chatter, internally plotting how best to exploit every connection for his own selfish gain. To everyone else, he looks like the model young lord, composed, decisive, and already carrying the weight of an entire territory on his shoulders. Fellow students cluster around him, hanging on every word. Liam is certain he is cultivating useful pawns. The pawns, meanwhile, are busy falling over themselves with admiration for the magnanimous Banfield heir. A long-haired noble girl locks onto him with pure intensity. Liam reads the moment as the start of some deliciously villainous power play. She reads it as the chance to stand beside the most impressive lord of their generation. The conversation turns to territories, fleets, and reputation. Liam casually drops lines about crushing pirates and squeezing every resource dry. The room hears a righteous protector who rebuilt a ruined house from nothing. Outside, under open sky, Liam takes a quiet moment to congratulate himself on how thoroughly evil he is being. He has no idea the people watching him see a young lord who somehow still finds time to walk among ordinary folk. Then comes the close up that seals the comedy. A blonde girl looks up at him with open emotion, while Liam answers with the cool, distant expression of a man convinced he is rejecting weakness. She walks away more devoted than ever. Back indoors, retainers and classmates keep the praise flowing. Liam nods along, already planning how to turn their loyalty into tools for his dark empire. Every polite smile only deepens the legend of the benevolent Lord Banfield. Alone with his thoughts for a second, Liam smirks at how perfectly his villainous mask is working. The three girls watching him from across the room look ready to swear eternal service on the spot. Faces around him light up with everything from awe to open affection. Liam catalogs each reaction as proof that fear and greed are spreading nicely. In reality, he has accidentally collected another wave of genuine admirers. An older noble lady and her companion receive him with full ceremony. Liam is certain he is intimidating them into useful alliances. They see a refined young ruler worth backing with everything they have. Then the temperature in the room changes. A fierce eyed girl with long dark hair steps forward, intensity rolling off her in waves. Liam braces for the kind of ruthless confrontation an evil lord lives for. She unleashes everything she has declarations, challenges, raw emotion. Liam meets it with the cold calculation of a man who thinks he is crushing a rival. The result is the opposite. She looks more captivated by the second. Side by side with the blonde girl who already believes in him, Liam stands at the center of yet another accidental triumph. He is absolutely certain he has just advanced his villainous schemes. The people around him are ready to follow him into the next war. And that is where chapter 35 leaves us. Liam Banfield, evil lord extraordinaire, once again surrounded by people who would throw themselves into the void for him. Next time, the academy walls will not be enough to contain the chaos he keeps accidentally inspiring. Welcome back to the Banfield Estate, where the self proclaimed evil lord of the galaxy is about to host a gathering so lavish it would make lesser nobles weep with envy. Liam has decided that throwing an outrageous party is the perfect way to flaunt his wealth and remind everyone how selfish and decadent he truly is. Guests stream through the halls while Liam's retainers scramble to keep everything running smoothly. To Liam, this is pure villainous excess. To everyone else, it is simply another reminder that their lord spares no expense when it comes to looking after his people. Conversations bounce around the room as nobles and staff mingle under the estate lights. Liam watches it all with the smug satisfaction of a man convinced he is corrupting the entire social calendar. The joke, as always, is that nobody else sees a tyrant, they see a magnificent host. Retainers trade stories and guests lean in closer, completely charmed by the atmosphere Liam built while trying to be terrible. Every polite laugh and grateful smile only deepens his belief that he is successfully playing the villain. The gap between his intentions and reality has never been wider. And then the chapter drops the mask entirely for a special freebie celebration. The cast pops up to thank every reader who picked up the volume, turning the whole thing into a cheerful victory lap. Even the bonus material cannot resist reminding us how lovable this supposed evil lord has become. Back at the estate, the real party refuses to slow down. The banner says it all. The celebration continued until dawn. Glasses clink, music swells, and Liam's carefully planned display of selfish luxury transforms into the kind of night his people will talk about for years. Retainers who once feared for the future of the Banfield name are now laughing until they can barely stand. Liam surveys the chaos and decides this must be the peak of his villainous influence. In reality, he has simply thrown the best party the territory has ever seen. The night grows wilder by the minute. Guests sprawl across couches, friends lean on each other in exhausted delight, and the entire estate feels alive with loyalty that Liam still mistakes for fear. He wanted to be the evil lord everyone dreads. Instead, he has become the lord everyone would follow into the stars.